Don't want that one, actually want this one. Hello everybody and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will and today we are going to be launching ourselves into the world of Homebrew, Dungeons and Dragons in Homebrew and Review and taking a look at some unique Homebrew classes, races, and pretty much everything else to do with Dungeons and Dragons, 5th edition. Thank you to H.M.L. Rhodes for following. Welcome to the event, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. So, basically, we're gonna take a look at some unique races that have been created by other people from ourselves, and we're just gonna see what we think of them, essentially, and see, yeah, basically see how they've made them, what we like about it, what we would change, and stuff like that. Let me very quickly go and make a quick change because it seems like my text plugin is messing me around. So I'm just gonna uninstall then reinstall it. Here, there we go. Submit, skip. There we go. And then we go and reinstall this thing. So if you have any homebrew stuff that you'd like to see me have a look at, then feel free to send it in to me. You can whisper me or you can send me a link in the chat, and I'll take a look at it at some point today. I do have a bunch of stuff that I want to look at straight away, and then I want to get into your stuff in a bit as well. So we'll get into that very soon. Mousefolk perfect for these height. That's true, Mousefolk. She liked them. Alright, so looks like my text thingy is back and I can edit this now again. What's up, Diamond Ludo? So before we get into the show, this is a new year, 2017. Welcome to the stream. If you're new to Encounter Roleplay, then my name is Will, and I run the show here. I am doing about 5 nights a week, 10 shows a week, actually 11 shows a week now, of Dungeons and Dragons live stream content, whether that's actual play games or content such as this, in which we're doing advice. Today is Sage Advice Sunday. We have a whole list of schedules down below. Check underneath the schedule or exclamation point schedule in the chat to find out when all of our shows are. Today is Sage Advice. Tomorrow is all sorts of other games. So we've got Beginners Play D&D and a Numenera game happening tomorrow. Tuesday is Fright Night, so we've got Call of Cthulhu and Open Legend horror games happening, and you can check out more down below. I just want to let you guys know about everything which is going on in the channel. I will review non-finished stuff, and I will give you some suggestions of some changes to make as well. So, what game is this for? This is just for our own kind of learning, basically, because I want to learn about making content, and maybe I'll use some of these characters in games as well, and encourage players to use characters like this. So, let's take a look at this first one, this rather adorable looking mouse folk. So, mouse folk are obscured in the thick underbrush of the forest. Every muscle in Moira's body was screaming. She'd been crouched, completely still for half a day, waiting for her quarry to emerge from its den. Thick mud clumped and matted her dark fur, insulating her from the high sun. Her large round ears twitched, focusing on a faint scratching coming from the cave. Her prey was awake. Moira drew her bow and deftly knocked an arrow without a sound. She waited. Soon the mighty owlbear lumbered out the cave. A dry summer had forced it closer to civilization and had begun preying on trade caravans. Moira took aim and let fly her arrow. The barbed trail would be safe to travel once more. So, this is obviously mouse people. So I figured we start off a little fun one and see how this race is enacted in D&D5E. It gives you a lot of information about what mousefolk are. They're a little over 2 feet tall. They usually weigh between 20 and 30 pounds. They're obviously like tiny little folk. Some nice artwork here as well. This is a D&D5E homebrew compilation that I've just found by finding online, basically. Yes, very much like Mouse Guard. What's up, Queen Sassy? Happy New Year. Cat or mouse folk? Oh, cat folk are definitely worse. Started a few weeks ago making my own homebrew mouse word. I'm more of an artist and a world builder. There you go. Maybe you should reach out to these guys. So, the mouse folk are a resourceful and tenacious race. Mouse folk settlements can be found in the most unlikely and inhospitable of places. They tend to build homes in dark shadows and forgotten corners of the world, such as city slums, deep forests, scorching deserts, arctic tundras, or port cities in exotic lands. That's interesting. I guess they like find their little holes and live in them. Some nice bit of backstory. And of course, character names are always helpful for when you're trying to quickly make a character. Angus, Aishwin, Ansel, Boris. all some pretty good names. I figured a Mally C for following. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Indeed, Psychedelia is. Happy New Year. So let's get on to the real reason why we're here. The crunch of the argument. And mousefolk traits is where we're going to start. So, Ability score increase, your dexterity score increases by 2. That makes a lot of sense to me. I figured that they'd have a big dex increase being little mice people, and plus 2 is a standard looking 5e bonus to give to someone. So yeah, good stuff to start off with here. What else was I going to say? Age, a mousefolk reaches adulthood at 5 and lives to be about 40 years old. Most mousefolk are neutral and tend towards good. They try to keep the conflicts of the other races at arm's length, but display remarkable ferocity when their friends, families, or communities are threatened. A reverence for nature and life is close to the heart of mousefolk, and they are loath to take a life if it can be avoided. They prefer to live in quiet and unassuming lives, giving honest work for honest pay. So your speed, your walking speed is 25 feet. You have proficiency in a perception skill. You have proficiency of rapier, short bow, sword, and hand axe. Nimble dodge. Okay, when attacked by an attack of opportunity, you may use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack. I believe that's already a mechanic within 5e that some creatures have. I'm not sure exactly which one. Happy New Year, Griffin. Thank you, buddy. Psychic resistance RPG is a race mice known as Oriki. Okay, cute and deadly. Yes. So this all makes sense so far. Languages, you can speak and write Common and Squeak speak. Okay, this is adorable. Mousefolk place great value on the written accounts of their legends and histories and encourage everyone to keep journals and records of their deeds. Almost all mousefolk speak Common to converse with the people on whose lands they dwell or through which they are traveling. The two main kinds of mousefolk, Softpaw and Meadowguard, are more like closely related families than true subraces. Choose one of the subraces. I actually think they might have up to 5 subraces for this if I read through correctly earlier. I'm just going to bring this down a little bit for you guys. Why do the smallest races are slower? I don't know, yeah. That's a good point. Just like this. Squeak speak, I know. Bruh. Let's bring this down about there so you can still see everything on the screen. So, that's rather cute. So, Softpaw. As a Softpaw mouse, you avoid the dangers of the untamed wilds. For the security of civilization, your bookish nature gives you an edge in the arcane studies and a knack for trade skills and craft. The mark of the Softpaw is a seal of the utmost quality. A Softpaw's natural dexterity and keen intellect make them desirable contract thieves and infiltrators. So you get an int score +1 for ability score. Artistry, you gain proficiency of one type of artisan's tools or one musical instrument. Squirm, you can move through tiny sized spaces as if you were tiny size. So Softpaws are like the perfect rogue class. I may move, relatively speaking, fast, but with such tiny legs I still don't get too far. Maybe so, yeah. Maybe they're like quite quick and agile, but not actually cover that much ground. I guess as well, in terms of games like this, they tend to balance classes through speed. So if they're good at everything, that tends to not do too well. Angry squeaks. So Meadowguard. As a Meadowguard folk, you make your living in the wilds. You have keen senses, deep intuition, and a connection with nature that few other races can boast. The Meadowguard stand staunchly at the edge of civilization, knowing that their eyes are the first alarm. Oh my god, can you hear that drilling? I'm so sorry if you can. Someone is drilling in my house, most likely. Okay, I don't know, builders or something. The Meadowguard stand staunchly at the edge of civilization, blah blah blah. They have an unwavering sense of duty and a lifetime of experience which keeps them sharp against the dangers of the world. With an elder's blessing, some Meadowguard leave the service of their clans to travel the world. You get wisdom score +1, advantage on saving throws against being frightened because you're brave, and you can speak with small or smaller beasts. Yeah, I figured you guys could hear that. It was like really fucking loud. Hopefully that stops. Yeah, hopefully it's a good thing. Like something's being fixed rather than something is like being drilled into my ceiling and someone's gonna come down and kill me. Hopefully that stops. You heard a werewolf? No. So both of these sub races, I guess as I'd say, are pretty standard. There's nothing crazy about them. Meadowguard and Softpaw both seem balanced. Brave advantage on saving throws against being frightened is quite good, but that's. Well, I guess it depends which kind of class you're going for. If you're going for like a bard, I'd go for like a Meadowguard. If you're going Softpaw, then that would be more kind of like roguish. It's just a werewolf, guys. Don't worry about my werewolf. I'll keep him. I'll keep him under lock. I think there are a couple more of these. No, these are different. That's a different race. Okay, so I don't want to go into that one yet. This seems like a kind of throwaway sort of race, like a kind of silly one. Like if you want to play D&D in mice worlds, or like mouse guard kind of stuff, then maybe you could play the mouse folk. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that this would be in your game if you were going for like a super serious campaign. But it is balanced, so it's not going to break your game. You could definitely pull it off, and you could be a very good rogue. Sounds like a dying cat. Don't. It's just a werewolf eating the dying cat, guys. But yeah, I'd play softball for probably more roguey or even bardy. They'd make good rogues, bards, probably rangers as well. Okay, spellcasters, I suppose. Yeah, their size being small just makes them good at sneaking around and being that kind of utility class. Yeah, it could be a good NPC. That's a good point, Shorthouse. You could definitely have a cool little mouse folk NPC, because when you have a character like this, it does tend to make things a little bit kind of like sillier. So if you want to have like a standout NPC, then this could be good for that. It's cat dying. Exclamation point, Brian. So that's the mouse folk. I didn't like these ones, so I'm going to skip over them. There's more information on the next class. I'm going to zoom in to see a little bit more of this one. So the Mythic. This is about as far as I got. But a Mythic is the offspring of a fallen angel and a human. They are rare beings with extreme lifespans that equal that of elves. They are wise and patient, but can be deadly and vicious when needed. And of course, possess the ability to fly with their angelic wings. This is like red flag territory. So Mythic can come from anywhere in the regions, typically places where their ancestors have lived. Some stay in villages, but most are ushered away out of sight to a kingdom of angels. Epidura City, a secluded island where they can dwell in peace. Most Mythic want peace and will often stay out of battle unless absolutely necessary, but others long for adventure and a chance to explore the kingdoms around them. So, like what I said, why did I say red flag when flying? Because flying can be such a pain sometimes when it comes to D&D. You have to kind of be careful when you consider having a party member having the ability to fly. It adds in a lot of aspects to the game. 3D is one of the aspects of D&D in combat that actually it struggles with. It is very much a kind of 2D board game, and so adding the third dimension of flight can make it difficult. But not to say that we're not going to make any conclusions yet, of course. We might have a look at it in a minute. Psycho. There's just not much information on it. I prefer like reading into the lore of the class. So dedicated to good because of their celestial ancestry. And by the way, these guys do sound like a bit like the Aasimar as well, which I've recently released in Volo's guide. Most mythics tend to lean towards the realms of good, worshipping the gods, blah blah blah. These guys are basically angels. Graceful and elegant mythics share an appearance akin to that what most would consider angels. Yes, they can beam bright in dark places, and they have large wings which they can use to fly with. Other races that look upon a Mythic appreciate their beauty and will even lay down and do what they say because of their... Okay, so... let's try and read this sentence. Other races that look upon a Mythic appreciate their beauty, and some will even lay down and do what they say because of their akin to angels worshipping the god they're sworn to. I'm not sure if that's quite correct, or maybe I'm just being an idiot. The Mythic are very well balanced and logical creatures. There's always a method to what they're doing. Okay, so they're like... angels, and of course you get dark angels, and well, you get Mythic names. These guys do sound like just like angels or Aasimar as well. What's up, Lo? How's it going, man? So I'm not feeling so hot on these guys right now. Alright, just got another link for a homebrew thing to check out in a little bit here, which I shall do. Okay, so alright, Mythic traits. Let's see what the actual... So, I mean, right now it's just kind of like, it's an angel. So, that's that. Ability score increase. Your intelligence score increases by 1, and your charisma score increases by 2. Mythic achieve maturity at the same rate as humans and live up to 1,000 years. They are medium creature, 5 to 6 feet tall. Alignment, I mean, that's up to what angel you are, I guess. Your walking speed is 30. You should have flying speed in there as well, shouldn't it? You can read and write and speak. Read, write, and speak, both common and celestial. You have advantage on persuasion rolls made against a good aligned character. Your celestial heritage allows you to light up the dark places in the world. You gain the light cantrip for free. Because of your angelic wings, you will never have to fear falling from a great height. You can use your wings to perform featherfall on yourself as a cantrip. Okay, as your character develops, so will their ability to use the fly spell. Follow the chart below to see how well your Mythic can use their wings. Now that's interesting. This is the first interesting thing about the class to me, actually. Sorry, the race. Let me see if this one. Nope. Kind of want to capture a little bit more of this window. Just gonna recap it so we can get a little bit more of the text in, just so we can see what we're working with here. I like the idea that you can like your wings get better. They're not immediately like the greatest thing, if that makes sense, because that can be annoying. Well, I say annoying. That would probably be a bit annoying if you're the DM, and it could be overpowered, is what I'm thinking. You know. So that works. Let's see. So level 1, you can cast fly once per long rest. Wing proficiency. Speed 30 feet. At level 4, you can cast fly once per long rest for 40 feet. Level 8, cast fly once per short rest for 40 feet. Level 12, you can cast fly as a cantrip and go 60 feet. Huh. Good day, Celestian. Huh. Something that grows out your back. Yeah, I'm hearing you, Refix. What's up, Wills? Okay. I get how that's why they've done that, and that's to balance it, because like I was saying, flight can be an issue. But I don't know if this is quite the right way to do it. Like having to cast a cantrip fly, or cast a spell fly, because that does take up spell slots for one thing, right? So do you? No, I guess it doesn't, because you use it via your wing proficiency, so I guess it doesn't use up a spell slot. Let's read on a little bit, just see if there's anything more on the wings. No, that's not. Okay, that's all there is. Then, of course, variant Dark Angel if you want to be a fucking emo. I find it strange that Featherfall is like... I find it strange that you have to cast Featherfall to use your wings. Like, if you are a Celestial Angel, or Celestial Angel, rather, then I feel like you should just be able to do that, maybe? Not having to use the spell Featherfall, I guess. I don't know. Seems a bit odd. Because, I mean, it can be dispelled. Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming up from that as well. You have wings, but you have to cast a spell to fly. Yeah, that's what seems odd. Sounds like level 12 you can always use wings. Yeah, at level 12 you've gained the full proficiency to always use your wings, it seems like. Which I don't mind so much. No, I think I do. I think there's a bit about it which is a little bit weird, like having to cast fly. I know, I see what they're trying to do. I see the thinking. The thinking is, well, everyone knows what fly means, and they can just look up what fly means. And that way, I don't have to give them flight at level 1, they can fly around. That makes sense. You could always limit... What's some other ways that we could limit flight? You could limit flight in... you get so many rounds that you can fly per short, long rest. You can be in flight. You can do it at so much speed, so you can have a very small amount of speed, like 10 feet you can fly at level 1, and level 4 you could have 30 feet. So you're not flying around everywhere all the time. You could put height limitations on how high they can fly, because, you know, one of the common, potential abuses or ways to abuse flight is that you fly up and you take something like sniper or spell sniper feats, and you just attack from the air and kill them over and over and over. That's like the classic Aarakocra thingy. Not good design for a wing character. I agree. I think the design is the issue. I like the idea. I mean, it's just been done a few times before, you know, the wing stuff. I think. Yeah, you see what Wizards did with the Aasimar is just they gave them wings which couldn't fly, and then I think one of them can fly. If you take a I can't remember which one. I always had to look at it again. Thank the Jester for following. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for joining us, my friend. So I have mixed feelings about this class. Just make it mechanical, give it speed and times. Yeah, I feel like the mechanics of using it as a spell are flawed, and it makes it confusing. And it has a separation from the fluff of what you're telling me is like these are angels, and then the mechanics of the game, which is this is now a spellcaster who can create flight. Because otherwise we're assuming that the wings don't work for some reason. I don't know if there's an in-game reason why their wings just don't work if they until their level they cast spells and stuff like that. Will it be a game later? Not today. This is Sage Advice Sunday. All our games start tomorrow, and then all throughout the week is games. Just this one day Sunday. It's all about workshopping. It's all about helping you guys out and looking at class and having a good time, basically. Dark appearance. Instead of gaining advantage, rolls to persuasion against characters with good alignment. You gain advantage persuasion checks against an evil aligned character. Then a battle mythic is the last variant. You get proficiency with simple and martial weapons, shields, light and medium armor. What? Okay, limitless flight. Okay, let's read this. I'll read this out to you guys. Your Mythic can use fly at will from their first level, born to use their wings to their full power. So limitless flight, if you take that variant, then you're just flying everywhere. But it says obstructed flight. Your Mythic cannot wear heavy armor without penalty because of how heavy it is, taking a penalty of -20 flying speed while wearing armor and a -5 to strength whilst in flight. So limitless flight and the battle Mythic, I'll move it over just so you guys can have a read of it yourselves, just seems kind of strictly better in some ways. It will not be games today, Kalashnikov. That seems kind of silly. That makes no sense. Yeah. This is the case of. I don't mean to be mean to the career. I don't want to sound rude at all, because they've clearly put a lot of effort into thinking about this class and thinking about how to make it work. I feel like this attempt at making a Mythic hasn't succeeded. The variant is wrong. I think too overpowered. The idea is cool. I mean, angels are always cool. You know, wings and flight is just a very difficult thing to get right in 5e. If wizards haven't done it yet, then it's not going to be easy. So, good attempt, but I mean, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So. Wouldn't use this one in your own games. Would be my advice. You could definitely tweak it and take a look at it and see what you could fix about it. But the Mythic would not be one that I would end up choosing. It does seem like someone's got a really cool idea, but it's the problem of having a really cool idea and like putting it into a game and making it work. It's very difficult to do. So if you're a creator and you ever end up watching this, then try and revise it. No, wizards haven't done it correctly, in my opinion. Just like the flight, let the PC fly's movement or walk around's movement. If you want to switch between them, it counts X as your movement. Yeah. Needs more. You can fly anywhere. Yeah. Exhausting is another way of doing it. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't think wizards have come up with the answer yet either. Alright, so let's move on to a class. So we've done some races. Let's see what classes are out here. Adept. A human general clad in gleaming armor studies the map on a table in front of him, filled with figurines that represent units of his soldiers and the invading orcs. He consults a level journal filled with notes he's made of the enemy's tribe, their customs and battle tactics, and he moves 2 pieces confidently forward. A wild-haired dwarf stands at the head of a long caravan. She surveys the valley below and plots their course for the untamed wilds. She sketches a map and motions for the caravan to follow, leading them deeper into unknown territory in search of treasure and knowledge. It would seem as though this one is like the Warlord class from 4th edition. So 4th is one that a lot of people didn't like, but I actually really liked the mechanical way in which Warlords worked. I want to see if they have some of their abilities. So Experts in the ordinary, where many scholars and academics dedicate their minds to unraveling the mysteries of the divine or the arcane, adepts focus their intellectual efforts on the mundane, the physical world around them, and all the wonder it holds. This seems like an average Joe. So their curiosity manifests in different ways. Some adepts are most interested in the workings of the body, learning how every part serves the whole so that they can better understand and heal it. Others become long students of the arts of war, devising ways to dominate the battlefield with superior tactics rather than superior brawn. And some are more concerned with the world itself, keen to seek out every corner of every ruin. Okay, so basically they're scholars, they're travelers, they're also generals, tacticians, maybe cartographers as well, by the sound of things. So consider your motivation for becoming a scholar in the world as opposed to a student of the so-called higher mysteries. So it's like a wizard, but without the magic. Is what I'm thinking here. That's me focusing on the mundane. Yeah. Oh man. Let's see. That's why you never seen an Angel on Heavy Plate. I haven't seen any of them actually. That ooze. Yeah, scientists in a sense. I guess you're right, Nox. Yeah. So let's see. So the Adept proficiency, you have an insight die of D4, which at 6th level goes up to a D6, at 11th level goes up to a D8, at 16th level goes up to a D10. Looks like you get the standard ability score improvements, extra attack features, and extra features as well. So class features, it's a hit dice of a 1d8 per level. So what blasphemy is this? Yeah, hit points at first level 8 plus con, and then 8 plus con per adept level after first. Proficiencies in light armor, medium armor, and shields. You get simple weapons, hand weapons, heavy crossbows. Interesting, heavy crossbows getting a proficiency in that to start with. To choose any two tools. Choose any two tools. That's not the easiest sentence to say. Saving throws, int, and dex. Skills, choose 4 from animal handling, history, insight, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, and survival. So those are what I would refer to as like the utility skills, I guess. Yeah, utility. Perception's obviously really like the main skill in any D&D game, but the others are helpful skills, I guess you could say. Like they're like useful for someone to have those skills. Languages, choose any 2. Alright, so you get a wide choice of language, which is nice. Equipment, you get scale mail or leather armor, a simple weapon and shield, or 2 simple weapons, a scholar's or an explorer's pack, and a light crossbow, and 20 bolts. That seems very similar to a lot of other classes, so it looks like that's pretty standard stuff. Expertise at first level, you choose 2 of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check that you make that uses any of the chosen proficiencies. At 7th level, you choose another 2 skill proficiencies to gain this benefit. Huh. Okay. Okay, expertise at first level. There you go, expertise and combat insight at first, okay. So let's read combat insight. Beginning at first level, you know how to use your intellect to adapt to the battlefield and exploit your enemy's weaknesses. When you roll for initiative, you gain a number of insight points equal to your intelligence modifier. You can spend these points to fuel various adept features. You start knowing 5 such features. Okay. Whew. We're getting into some some mechanics at level 1. All right. So you have 5 features: agitating attack, defensive posture, exotic technique, foiling strike, and unsticky the situation. Now that one I think might need to be renamed. So you learn more features fueled by insight points as you gain levels in this class. You gain 1 additional insight point at the end of each of your turns unless you are surprised or incapacitated. So when you roll for initiative, you gain a number of insight points equal to your intelligence modifier. So intelligence is probably going to be your main stat. Other class features provide additional opportunities to gain insights in combat. Some combat insight features will have you roll an insight die. The type of die you use is determined by that column, so it starts with a D4. Some of your combat insight features require your target to make a saving throw to resist the feature's effects. The saving throw DC is calculated as follows. It is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Okay, are you following along so far? It does sound complicated. Unsticky the situation is scandalous. Assess the situation, that's good, yeah. Yeah, it's like a skill monkey, like rogue, yeah. You're right. Yeah, this seems like a class that you would not want to play if you are a beginner to Dungeons and Dragons. Having A lot of options from level 1 is the kind of opposite from what you want when you're a beginner, because there's a lot of things to read, there's a lot of mechanics to wrap your head around. You've got basically combat, you've got savings to get around, you've got spell save DCs basically from here, and insight points to calculate and track. So let's see what these 5 ones are. So agitating attack. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can spend 2 insight points to attempt to force the creature to lose focus. By the way, let's assume that you've put your highest stats into intelligence for this, so that you have maybe 2 to 3 insight points at level 1 is probably fine if you rolled them. Hey Deimos, happy new year, buddy. Thank you, dude. So, yeah, the DM would need to know as well. So you can spend 2 insight points to attempt... I guess in rare situations you might have 4. Very unlikely, I guess. So you roll an insight die and add it to the attack's damage roll, and the target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the target has disadvantage on its next intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw. So it loses focus. You roll an insight die and add it to the attack's damage roll. So you get an extra d4 to your damage roll. The target must make a wisdom saving throw, and if it fails, gets disadvantage on int, wisdom, or charisma saving throw. Do you have to choose, or is there any of those? I guess it's either of those, whichever it does first. So, okay. That seems a little... I guess an extra d4? Sure. Defensive posture, you spend 1 insight point and take the dodge action. If a creature misses you with an attack before the start of your next turn, you can use your action to make a weapon attack against an enemy in range. If you have extra attacks, you can forego one of them to use the dodge action. So at level, 4 or 5, you get extra attacks, so you can always do defensive posture. Okay, doing lots of things here that other classes do. Exotic technique, you can spend 1 insight points to stun a creature with something it's never seen before, make a weapon attack, and add an insight die to the attack roll. If the attack hits, the target must use its reaction to make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target is stunned until the end of your next turn. The target has a disadvantage on the saving throw if it does not have a reaction available. Yeah, any it does first, I think. Exotic technique is like monkey stuff. Defensive posture is like rogue stuff. Agitating attack is fine, I guess. I don't even know what that would be. Voiding strike. When an ally takes an attack action that forces a creature to make a strength, dexterity, or constitution saving throw, you can spend 2 insight points and use your reaction to make a weapon attack against a creature if it is in range. Add an insight die to the attack roll. If the attack hits, the target is disadvantaged on the saving throw. Okay. Alright. That's kind of confusing, honestly. When an ally takes an action that forces a creature to make a strength, dex, or con saving throw, you can spend 2 insight points and use your action to make a weapon attack against a creature. Add an insight die. Okay. Okay. That makes sense to me now. I had to read that twice. And then unsticky the situation. When you fail a saving throw, you can spend 2 insight points to roll an insight die and add it to the saving throw, potentially turning it into a success. I'm with Trey on this one. This does seem a little bit overcomplicated at level 1 to get these things. What I would actually suggest, rather than being, you know, totally negative about this, because I think it is cool, what I would suggest is maybe you get more of these like techniques or combat insights, what do they call them, features, combat insight features when you level up. So it looks like you do get extra things when you level up, but maybe you start with 2 from this list, and then maybe as you get to level 4 you can choose a 3rd, and then so on and so forth when you get to higher levels to choose, and then that would give you a little bit less of everything that you can do, and maybe a little bit more of you know, like you can choose which kind of adept you'd like to be. Like, I'd like to be the defensive kind of adept. I'd like to be the, you know, the foiling kind, whatever. because getting 5 at level 1 is just a lot of stuff. And not because it's necessarily overpowered, although I think it could be getting towards the realms of it's doing too much and stepping on the toes of other classes. But it certainly is very confusing to start off and have to wrap your head around all this stuff just at level 1. Do it like a fighter style, that's good, yeah. Subclasses for official classes, yes, yeah. Let's see. Force a creature to spend its reaction. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything which makes it... If the attack hits, the target must use its reaction to make a dexterity saving throw. Making someone use its reaction? I don't think I've seen any mechanic which says it must use its reaction. Because then that combos... I guess it combos with if it does not have a reaction on one of these things. It has... I don't know. Needs some looking at. So... Field research, now this is at level 2, you get another thing. Second level, if you spend at least 1 minute, 10 rounds, or observing or interacting with another creature outside of combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities. Choose a reference creature of the same type that you have seen, and the DM tells you if the creature you're researching is equal, superior, or inferior to the reference creature in regard to 2 of the following characteristics of your choice. Oh my god, this is the rules lawyer's favorite friend. Strength score, dex score, constitution score, intelligence score, armor class, maximum hit points, total class levels. I didn't mean rules lawyer, I meant metagamer. Alright, Psycho, drop me links, buddy. Yeah, what book is this from? Godzilla, this is just from a homebrew site I found online. It's a compilation of some guy that put it together on Reddit. The name of the class being reviewed is the Adept Terif. Field research. I can see this getting spammed and being annoying. Right? If you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with another creature outside of combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities. So there's no, like cooldown on how long you can do this, or how many times you can do this. It looks like you can just do this over and over and over. And learning in reference to the creature if it's stronger or weaker, I guess isn't anything which is ridiculous. I don't know, I just feel like it'd waste time and kind of encourage too much focus on the stats for the players. It could be useful. Instead of the strength scores and stuff like that, I'd like to be able to identify maybe a weakness of the creature, or it gives you like 1 weakness of the creature or 1 resistance of the creature, something like that, just so it's not so much a focus on hit points and stuff like that. I don't know, seems kind of cheesy to me. So, study foe at 3rd level. That's like study pal, but study buddy, study foe. At 3rd level, you can spend 2 insight points and use a bonus action to begin closely studying an enemy. You analyze its movements, demeanor, and fighting style in order to avoid their attacks. Okay, the studied creature has disadvantage on attack rolls that target only you. You must be able to see the enemy to take advantage of this feature. This effect ends if you're incapacitated when the creature dies, obviously, or falls unconscious, or if you use this feature on a different enemy. You can use this feature to study only 1 enemy at a time. So that's a bonus action to do that, and it never runs out until you're incapacitated or it dies or falls unconscious. I mean, oh, buddy, Bloodstone. The 5 months, my friend. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that. Happy New Year, buddy. I salute you, sir. Gentleman Scholar, let us raise a drink in the chat for Bloodstone. Thank you, my friend. Like a scan ability allows you to detect 1 kind of vulnerability. Exactly, Terif, yeah. Okay, so I've talked about this a bit. I want to close down Skype, actually, it's annoying me. One of the things about 5e, and you've heard me talk about this before, is that advantage is really, really powerful as a mechanic. I'll move this window over so you guys can see this a bit better. Yeah, advantage as a mechanic is really, really strong, really, really powerful, and therefore so is disadvantage. Whenever a rule reads grant disadvantage or grant disadvantage, then I There's like that little kind of little warning bell goes ding in Wall's head, and I'm like, okay, so this is going to be really powerful. Anything with advantage or disadvantage, something which you can do as a bonus action, which gives one enemy constant disadvantage against you until you are knocked out, killed, or you give it to another enemy for 2 insight points. It's pretty strong. Okay, it's pretty strong. Thank you to Ananmoth for following, a gentleman and a scholar. That's really strong. And now, so you might think it's actually not so bad, and in some ways it's not. In some situations, it's actually like okay. It is just like cleric incantations, but a cleric has it once a day, whereas this guy gets to do it every like combat. Think about if you are fighting a one-on-one fight with a really strong like boss enemy, you know, because this happens in D&D. You're trying to take down a big bad. That creature has disadvantage on attack rolls that target only you. So obviously AoEs don't count, so that's one thing that is we should know about this. And you have to be able to see the enemies take advantage of the feature, so that's another thing. But like a big bad having disadvantage on all attack rolls against you would be pretty strong, pretty damn strong. So study at third level, maybe not a third level, maybe at later levels. Maybe just find another way to do it. I don't know. I don't love study foe. Yeah, the boss will never target the one using this ability. You're right, yeah. I mean, there'd be no point targeting this guy because having constant disadvantage for nothing, you know, it would suck. With no saves as well, like so a way that you could like balance this more is allow this to save, or the creature that it's on to save against it, like I don't know, a constitution save, an intelligence save, I don't know, whatever. Something to stop the effect from happening because it is a little bit too good in some cases here. Can they wear medium and heavy armor? They have proficiency in medium armor, but not heavy. Of course you can take stuff to get it. Also at second level, my god, think of all so we've got 5, 6, 7. This is in the wrong place, right? So pursuit should be above study foe. Okay, so you've had 7 or 8 abilities by the time you're level 2. By the time you're level 3, you have 8. At second level, you choose your intellectual pursuit on which to focus your efforts. Choose Tactician, Physician, or Explorer, detailed at the end of the class description. The discipline you choose grants you features at second level, and again at 5th, 9th, 13th, and 18th. Again at second. Of course, you get ability score improvements, extra attack at 5. I wanna kind of scroll down to when that's Tactician. Oh, so these are the pursuits. We'll go into them in a minute. Bloody hell, there's a lot of stuff in this. Yeah, fucking. This might be a more refinement document layout and art arenas. I agree, yeah. As a whole, it's too many abilities. Too many features too quickly. It looks like a Pathfinder class, yeah. But to be honest, there's too much to it. Yeah, this is what we I think we're in agreement here that it does seem to be a little bit too much stuff. We will go through it. We will give it its fair review, though. So we'll see what else it has. But it does seem like way too much stuff. By 10th, you are always analysing all aspects of your... So, one quick side note on that. Why is it bad to have too many abilities? Because when you have so many abilities to do so many things, you start to step on the toes of other classes, and you start to be doing like the same thing as them. And for me, that's not a good thing. Being able to do like things that other classes can do. Because that's the point of them doing. What's up, Xanis? How's it going, buddy? Basically, yeah, unmitigated disadvantage makes getting hit very unlikely. So, Shrewd Improviser. By 10th level, you are always analysing all aspects of your surroundings, finding ways to use your environment and whatever is close at hand in combat. You gain proficiency with improvised weapons, and half cover functions as well for you as 3/4 cover. Okay, proficiency in improvised weapons. Cover functions, I mean, sure. Doesn't seem particularly terrible. Doesn't seem particularly great. That seems fine. Yeah. That's right, Fire. So, yeah, there are tables that you can look at for the disadvantage. Like, someone did the numbers. They're really fucking sad. But, you can look it up, and the numbers don't lie, as they say. So, psychological profile at 11th level. God. So much text. You can analyze a creature's speech and body language to determine. Oh my god! If we could do this for women, to determine how best to interact with it in order to achieve your aims. This sounds excellent, guys. Where can I get a psychological profile? So now this is going into like Criminal Minds. If you spend at least 1 minute conversing with the creature or observing it in a social situation, the DM tells you whether deception, intimidation, or persuasion will give you the best chance at favorable outcome. Deception, always a way to go. You're considered proficient with the designated skill while speaking of the creature, and it must pass a wisdom saving throw equal to roll of your insight die plus your int modifier. Or you have advantage on the checks as well. This effect ends if you go 24 hours without speaking to the creature, i.e. if she doesn't text back, or use the ability on a different creature. It goes both ways as well. Okay. So now the save is a wisdom saving throw equal to roll of your insight die plus your intelligence modifier, or you have advantage on the checks as well. Why not use this? Why not use your combat insight save? That seems to make sense to me. Okay. Analytical mind. At 15th level, you can substitute your intelligence score and modifier for your wisdom score and modifier. Wait, okay. Wisdom score and modifier for purposes of saving throws and ability checks. If you are proficient in intelligence saving throws, you are considered proficient in wisdom saving throws. Yeah, this one's getting like increasingly too complex for my liking, really. By the way, here's a tweet for y'all, and if you haven't followed yet, go ahead, hit that follow button, and join us. So words of wisdom. By the way, the reason I'm skipping over these is because we could probably talk for ages about why these are kind of too complex and not worth having. So at 17th level, when an ally is preparing to make a skill check, you can use your action, to analyze the situation and advise him based on your observations. Roll an insight die, which at this point is a d10, and add half the number of the die, or the full amount of the die if it's a skill check you're proficient in, and add it to his roll. If multiple allies will be attempting the same feat, for example, a party preparing to scale a cliff face, they may each add this bonus to their skill checks without using additional actions. There's so much, like, the problem with this is way too complex. I'm hitting things now, I'm angry now. Yeah, we can take this into 4 class and have brilliant ones and move on for your insanity. I want to give it its fair review. I think it was fair review. We're almost done. Words of wisdom, 17th level. You're doing crazy shit anyway. Too complex. Just give people advantage or something at that point. So at 20th level, you embody true genius. Your intelligence score increases by 4, and your maximum intelligence increases to 24. What? You are also capable of moments of perfect insight, wherein the path to success becomes clear, even when the odds are stacked against you. On a failed ability check, you treat the d20 as a 20. Use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. I think it was, yeah, only on Tuesday, so... It's like you can... It's like reading this. Let me move over for you guys. Oh, not that one. Reading this is like delving into the mind of someone who's like gone a little bit insane over time as they've written it. It is at this point that I feel my time would be better spent elsewhere. Happy New Year, Wargath. Yeah. Okay. Well, we gave it a go. That's the Adept. Okay, so I don't want to read the other like 17 fucking pages of stuff because look, this is all Adept stuff, and now this is the sources that he's got it from. Gonna get to the Artificer in a minute, but this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages should not be a class. 6 classes can be your own fucking novel. So the problem with the Adept is that it tries to do too many things. It does none of them particularly well. There are way too many abilities. You get them too quickly. And many of the abilities are too complex in themselves and not well thought out, I think. And even though the seed of the idea is good, we once again have run into the problem that the execution of bringing that into the game has not been successful. This is a class that you would have to study, you'd have to fucking love maths, and it seems, I don't want to be rude about it, but a lot of homebrew that I have seen, this is me being diplomatic, a lot of the homebrew I have seen is someone like having a wank over their own character that they've created, or their own idea for a character that they've had, and trying to make it the best possible. Make it the best in the game because it's their favorite character or their favorite, idea for a class. So you do have to be a bit careful for kind of like the circle jerk effect, we'll call it. And I think the Adept has fallen into that trap. 6 pages is way too much. It's just way too much information. You could make several classes out of this. You really could. Some of your ideas just need to be cut out. Like, edit. Whenever you're creating a homebrew class, whenever you're creating a, well, pretty much anything, whenever you're making creative content, you just have to look at it and say, is this needed? Is it needed that it needs 5 abilities at level 1, and then another one at level 2, and then another one at level 3, and then by the time that you get to level 3, you're also choosing another 3 abilities, which you go down to page 5 to read, and then you get another 5 abilities as well from this, and then, you could multi-class into this, and do this and this, if you have this, and of course, if it's a Tuesday, then you could fly up onto, such and such. It gets specific. So, the circle jerk. You'd have to have a study foe and psychological profile to understand it. It's true, yeah. We're gonna move on from this one. That was interesting, but let's see. I've got high hopes for the next one. Let's move this little bad boy out here so we can get him into shots, because it is one of my favorite classes, and I know a lot of you guys love this particular idea for a class as well, which is the Artificer. So, like, classes must do all the things, that's it. Like, if people get so excited, they're like, but he needs to do this, and he can do this, and he's a little bit like Derek Morgan from Criminal Minds, and he's also like Ned Stark, and he's also going to be Theoden, and at the same time, he's going to be Gandalf. And it's like, chill, make 4 classes. So, alright, Artificer. Let's move on to this one. High hopes. Thus far, we've had a hit, a couple of misses, but that's honestly my experience of homebrew overall. We'll move on to that topic in a little bit later. So, a hammer falls, shaping the gold ore that will be known in legends. An elf recites the words to enchant the rings that were built from the wood of an ancient tree, using its magic to release the curse on his beloved son. A dwarf and her blacksmith finishes silvering the weapon her companions requested to face the goblins that will soon invade the town. Even though she wasn't asked, she made some fine adjustments to better penetrate the goblin armor. A gnome raises a weird engine in his hands, finally completing his automaton and now being able to use that magic shield he once found in the temple. Okay, so the Artificer, tinkerers, creators, magic users. The strength of the Artificer doesn't come with the magic it wields, but in the idea it carries. Let's see if the power of the Artificer class does indeed do any of these things. So, yeah, there are a couple of typos. We're gonna overlook them. Usually, tag on Twitch, that is a little bit of a red flag for me when I do see some couple of pretty basic typos. I'm like, okay, but let's see. Let's not judge, because English isn't everyone's first language, and so, that's the thing. So, Artificer. Features, spellcasting, arcane recovery. So you get spellcasting or seal at level 1, you get 3 cantrips known, spells known 2. First 2 looks similar to, like, wizardy stuff, I guess. I don't know the tables off by heart, but that seems to be what it kind of looks like. Not every blacksmith or wizard is an artificer. Some wizards who actually create items like scrolls and wands are not qualified enough to the standards of an artificer. No inventor is called to a simple life, since they must always deal with the extraordinary, but only an artificer takes the adventuring path to gather either the materials or the knowledge to make things that seems to be taken from legends and defy even the gods. Okay, so you think about how to create your Artificer. It says intelligence should be a higher score, followed by constitution and dexterity. Second, choose the guild artisan background. Third, choose the mage hand, mending, and shocking grasp. Okay, so we've got an idea. Basically, we're looking at kind of spellcasters here. So, hit points, you get a 1d8, 8 plus con for your hit points at first level, and then standard 1d8 plus your con modifier every level after. Proficiencies in light armor, weapons, only simple weapons, tools, you choose one artisan's tool, you get constitution saving throws as well as intelligence saving throws, and you choose 2 skills between arcana, history, insight, investigation, medicine, and nature. Thus far they're playing very much like wizards in my mind, however the d8 hit dice is nice, makes you a little bit tankier. That's interesting. Artificer is the same spell list as Sorcerer, but with 1 less cantrip. That's good to know, actually. So, equipment. You start with the following equipment. In addition to the equipment granted by your background, any simple weapon and leather armor, component pouch and an arcane focus, a dungeoneer pack, or an explorer's pack. So this is pretty standard stuff, of course, but let's get on to where we're likely to get into a little bit more in-depth mechanics here. Spellcasting. You get spellcasting. Cantrips, 3 cantrips of your choice from the Artificer spell list. You learn additional cantrips of your choice at higher levels as shown in the cantrips column, yep. Spell slots, yep, spell slots table, this is all standard stuff. Your spellcasting ability is 8 plus prof, plus your intelligence modifier. Your spell attack modifier is your proficiency bonus, plus your intelligence modifier. Okay. You have a spellcasting focus, arcane recovery. So now we're on to actual new stuff. So sorry for reading over stuff that we all know. No worries, Stray. Get some sleep. See you soon. So you have learned to regain some of your magical energy in arcane recovery. Once per day, when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots can have a combined level that is equal to or less than half your Artificer level rounded up, and none of the slots can be of 6th level or higher. Can have a combined level that is equal to or less than half your Artificer level. Okay. For example, if you're a 4th level Artificer, you can recover up to 2 levels worth of spell slots. You can recover either a 2nd level spell slot or 2 1st level spell slots. Interesting. Thank the Star Dweller for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Glad you made it to the show today, my friend. Awkward phrasing. Yeah. Artificers should be able to use their craftsman tool of choice, a 2-handed Vorpal weapon. Maybe they do later on. That doesn't read too well, but I think I understand it. After you finish a short rest. So short rest is the important term there. And you get at a level 1. So, yeah, pretty much arcane recovery, that's just wizardy stuff. Is that how they word it in the PHP? I feel like that's worded weirdly, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, arcane imbuer, a 2nd level. You can tell I don't play spellcasters, by the way. Arcane imbuer at 2nd level. When you use your action to cast a spell, you can choose instead to imbue by touch it into a non-magical object no larger than 5-foot cube and set a condition to trigger the spell. Okay. Thank you to Gazoo for 20 cap for following. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Okay. But 100% for the book. There you go. I figured wizards would phrase it better. What's up, Brian? How's it going, buddy? Good to see you again. Okay, so a 2nd level, use your action to cast a spell. So you're casting a spell, you can instead choose to imbue it by touch into a non-magical object no larger than 5-foot cube and set a condition to trigger the spell. If the object is being worn or carried by an unwilling creature, you must first succeed a melee attack as if you were attempting to disarm. Alright, we're getting into it, boys. So, the spell slot used to imbue the spell remains used until it is triggered or dismissed. The spell remains imbued by a number of hours equal to your constitution modifier. Once that time expires, the object loses the effect without triggering. While used, you can't regain that spell slot with a long or short rest. Imbuing an object requires concentration since you're linked magically with the object. When it takes effect, the object becomes the point of origin of the spell. You can activate the effect or dismiss it with either a bonus action or reaction if the condition for the triggering is met. I'm gonna get triggered. It's like magic traps. That's exactly what I was thinking. So make your kazoo of cure light wounds. Yeah, it's gonna be a pain to keep track of. I hear you there. In any case, the object must be in your line of sight to activate the spell. Most common triggers are touching, hitting, social justice warriors, approaching it, or even specific manipulation of the object. At 6th level, you can imbue objects up to 10 feet cube. Additionally, the object can be triggered even if it's not in your line of sight and it's on a 120 foot radius apart from you. At 10th level, the spell remains imbued until the end of the long... Sorry, at 14th, the spell remains imbued until the end of the long rest. When you reach 18th level, the object can trigger the spell if it's on the same plane of existence. Okay. Anything which requires like a page to explain is probably not worded, like phrased in the most user-friendly way, I suppose. It's a cool idea, the Arcane Imbuer. It's one of those abilities I feel like it kind of rings a little bell, and it's like, this is going to be abused really badly somehow. Like, this is going to break something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this could be used in a way which would have a negative effect. Off the top of my head, I can't think exactly how you would, but I don't know. Arcane Imbuer, unless we can think of any. Seems fine. Just seems very complex. It seems like the DM would have to know a lot about it, you know. So you imbue a weapon with magic missiles, and you hit it, you get the attack and the spell. No, it's not a weapon, I believe. Is it a weapon? Could you do it in a weapon? Imbue, I touch a non-magical object no larger than 5 foot cube and set a condition to trigger a spell. It does say, yeah, it doesn't say weapon, so it says object. So I guess in this term, in the term of, you know, D&D, the term object means something which isn't a weapon. The term weapon means something which isn't an object, I guess. And that's not wrong. You guys might think otherwise. Mr. Frag Magnet, thank you for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. I would certainly not allow, I don't think, would I allow like the weapon to attack? I don't know. What do we say? What do you say? What say you? You die staying away for a month. Yeah, okay. Alright, Arcane Imbue is certainly interesting. Like, I like anything which is new. You can imbue a weapon. You just don't have to, I guess, yeah. Consider all weapons to be objects, but not all objects as weapons. I guess you're right, yeah. I guess you could really... that's a problem. Like, that needs to be phrased, otherwise you get interpretations which are different. I guess you could put it in a weapon. I mean, I see why you couldn't. But then you're kind of like a spell sword. I don't know. That seems weird. I don't really see what the benefit... I guess the benefit is that you do burst damage over a... If you like, you kind of build up and you enchant and then you do burst damage instead of casting spell, doing some damage and attacking and doing extra because you put it in one roll. I don't know. They would need to clarify that. Like, if Wizards release this... Oh my god, the errata that they would release. Okay, yeah. I don't know, because that's the kind of thing that Wizards disagree on in some things, like the way that they categorize things in their game is really strange. If you've ever looked at you guys were here for the D&D quiz. If you haven't seen it, you can check out the YouTube channel. But it's basically things that you don't know about D&D that you think you know. And there are so many things that in the actual rules as written are very strange within 5e and kind of unintuitive. So that kind of just makes me wonder. but I don't know off the top of my head. Anyway, it seems weird. I don't know. Let's move on. Artificer archetypes. When you reach 3rd level, you get another archetype. So choose Gear Wonders or Gadget Wonders. Mr. Dr. Gadget. Okay. Ability score improvements at 4. At 10th level, you can attune to 4 magical objects instead of 3. Efficient casting. At 20th level, you can cast a number of spells equal to your Constitution modifier while keeping concentration. If you receive damage and fail to saving throw, all the spells in the effect end. That's cool. 20th level, you're doing crazy shit anyway. So 2 expressions: Great Gear Wonders and Gadget Wonders. So yeah, like the fact that you can counterspell a counterspell, which is strangely unintuitive and weird. But yeah, anyway, let's see. So, Gear Wonders, Talented Enchanter. At 3rd level, whenever you're crafting an item, every day of work of yours counts as 25 gold pieces instead of 5. This is in the PHP. Additionally, you can spend a long rest to make an item count as magical with the only effect of being magical. You can do this with a number of items equal to your Constitution ability modifier, since it requires part of your magical essence. If you exceed that number, the first item that was made magical breaks and loses its properties, and a new item gains the benefits instead. Wow, okay. Could theoretically do that for all of time, it's true. So, Arcane Forger at 7th level, whenever you're crafting an item, every day of work of yours counts as 50 gold pieces instead of 5. Additionally, you can imbue magic, blah blah blah. It doesn't count as the items made of Talented Enchanted feature. If you exceed that number, the first item that is made magically breaks, blah blah blah. To make the item magical, you need to spend a long rest and imbue a spell no higher than 1st level permanently on the item. The item requires attunement to its magical properties and becomes the origin of the spell, which can be activated each day a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, which is going to be high. If the spell needs concentration, the duration becomes 1 minute per activation. My god. So at 7th level... I don't know, Night Steeds. I don't actually know. Yeah, magic items are in the DMG. So at 7th level, you can imbue a magical item with a spell no higher than 1st level. So you can put a 1st level spell on a weapon and say your intelligence modifier is 7th level because you've had the ability score improvement. So that's 4 or 5. So you can have 5 spells per day. Becomes the origin of the spell, which can be activated each day a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. If the spell needs concentration, the duration becomes 1 minute per activation. Okay. This, like... I just feel like there's lots of ways you could potentially abuse stuff. Let's put Magic Missile on a weapon. Let's put Firebolt on a weapon. I mean, you know. Expert Crafter. 11th level, whenever you're crafting an item, every day of yours counts as 75. Additionally, the limit of items that you can make with the Talented Enchanter feature is doubled. Okay. At 15th level, there's so many abilities of this. Oh my god. Enchanter Savant. At 15th, whenever you're crafting an item, every day of yours works 100 gold pieces instead of 5. Additionally, you can imbue permanently with magic a number of items equal to your Constitution ability modifier. This doesn't count as items made of the Talented Enchanter or Arcane Forger feature. Okay, fine. If you exceed that number, the first item that was made magically breaks and loses its properties, and a new item gains the benefits instead. You can imbue it with a spell no higher than 4th level. Same stuff as before. At 15th level. Okay. Firebolt. Not Fireball. Firebolt is a cantrip, right? Free magic missile every hit for 5. Yeah. Alright, Gadget Wonders. Some artificers are not much interested in creating items, as they're interested in delving into the intricacies of building contracts and unlocking life itself. Okay. Alright, so this is like Animal Companion, but steamy. So, how do you activate a spell? I don't know if it said somewhere. Firecrow, I've just found something on Reddit and looked it up. It's a compilation. No, it's not a book as such. Different creators. So at 3rd level, you build a construct that accompanies you on your adventures and is designed to fight alongside you. When you first reach 3rd level, you must spend a whole day building it and require a whole day every time you make a new one. At 3rd level, you can only do one automaton. Shaping the automaton. Choose a creature that you've seen that has a challenge rating of 1/4 or lower and change its type for construct. If it has charisma or intelligence of 12 or more, change that to 11 instead. If it uses the attacks, of the base creature, the base god, but it doesn't have any passive abilities, okay, such as keen senses. If the creature has the multi-attack feature, it can't attack more than twice. It gains its total attacks when you reach 17th level of this class. Okay, you would choose a multi-attack creature. It has your proficiency bonus to its attack rolls and its damage rolls. Its hit point maximum equals its normal maximum, or 4 times your Artificer level, whichever is higher. Every time you achieve a new level in this class, the HP increases accordingly. You can equip it with swords, armor, and shields that you are proficient with, which is light. When adding more than one of these, it uses only the highest modifier. You can use your bonus action to verbally command it to take the attack, dash, engage, dodge, help, or ready in action against a creature. If it doesn't have a command, it will only defend itself against hostile actions. If it reaches 0 hit points, you must spend a short rest to repair it. You don't gain other benefits of the short rest. Wow, okay, so that is like, that's pretty good. Yeah, and use a dagger polymorph. Companion is like creating a golem from the DMG. It's like summoning an animal companion. Or like some of the new druid circles. That's really good. Like so here's a really good thing about it. So obviously all of this stuff is really good. I mean, it's like the revised ranger in many ways, but the bonus action is the biggest thing about it. It doesn't act on your turn, which is, you know, the best thing about it. If it acts on your turn and you have to use an action to like move through it, like you do like in the standard companion use, then that would be bad. But using a bonus action on your turn to do it is really good. It might actually act on your turn. Don't know if it says. But bonus action either way makes it excellent. So looks like it's gonna get better too. Yeah, I agree. So this is at level what, 3? Yeah, it's at level 3. Whenever you take an ability score improvement, you can choose instead to improve one of the abilities of your construct and one of yours. That's good. If you take a feat instead of an ability score improvement, you can choose instead one of your constructs gain it. If its score in intelligence or charisma becomes equal or bigger than 12, it develops consciousness and acts on its own, being initially friendly to you and its creator. While conscious, it can attune to a single magic item. Oh wow, okay. So what you do is, obviously its intelligence is set to 11. So you choose a creature which has multi-attack and an intelligence or charisma of 11. Or 12. And then when you level up at level 4, you take your ability score increase, you give yourself 1 point of intelligence, and you give it a point of intelligence as well, making it intelligence of 12 and giving it the ability to attune to a magical item. You can of course create magical items. Wait, no, you can't create magical items because you're the gadget wonders, but you can certainly give him one of your magic items. And if there's another artificer in the party, I mean, you're womboing and comboing there. So that's really good. Yeah, action economy is kind of with the magic item stuff, is going to probably get a little bit out of hand. The fact that you can improve its scores. Anyway, so upgrade at 7th level, you can create up to your intelligence modifier constructs. You can create up to your intelligence modifier, I guess, of constructs. I know what that means. You can achieve its creation after 1d4 days for each one you make. You can transfer any benefit your automaton gained by ability score improvement, feat, or fighting style to another construct bonded to you, as long as you have the automaton or parts of it. You do so by spending a long rest without losing the benefits of resting. What the hell? So this is upgrade. Starting at 7th level, you can create up to your intelligence modifier constructs. Your intelligence modifier at 7th level is easily 5 because you're starting this thing out. It's 4 or 5 most likely. I'd try and get it to 5 if you were hey, happy New Year, doppelganger. I'd try and get it to 5 by your ability score improvements and stuff. So 4 or 5, and it takes you 1d4 days. The time really isn't that important. I mean, the time is one way, like, it's like, oh, it's not so bad, but I mean, there could be 1 day. It could be 4 days to create 4 constructs. It could be 5 days to create 5. It has the same benefits from your ability score improvement feats of fighting style to another construct bonded to you. So you can you just have 5 constructs? Is that what I'm reading? Or am I being an idiot? Complex Thinker, also at 7th level. The base creature used to make the construct can be any challenge rating of 1/2. That's at 7th level as well. So you get all of this stuff at 7th level. So 7th level you can create 4 or 5 1/2 challenge rating automatons. Huh. Yeah, that sounds ridiculous now. At 7th level, one of your constructs gains a fighting style between archery, defense, dueling, and protection. You decide which one of the automaton gains the feature. Additionally, when you take a feat, you can choose instead to give it to one of your constructs. Alright, at 11th level, you can use your... It just sounds silly now. I mean, like, how is this balanced? Yeah, somebody wants to my class up to 7, yeah. At 11th level, you can use your action to teleport up to 30 feet to a space that you can see occupied by a construct, swapping places. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest or cast a spell of the 1st level or higher. Are you kidding me? What you have to do is cast a 1st level spell at 11th level. How many 1st level spells do you have, and how many spell slots? 11th level, you have 4 1st level spells, so you have all of these are 1st level or higher. 11. Silly. It's more than 11 actually. Okay. So now we've gotten into the realms of, oh my god, I need to do everything. You can solo the game. I mean, like, hey Fit, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year. Velociraptors are multi-attack and pack tactics. They don't get the benefit of pack tactics. It doesn't have the features, I believe. It doesn't have passive abilities such as keen senses, so I think that would include pack tactics. So Schema Designer, also at 11th level. I think that might be a typo. The base creature used to make the construct can be a challenge rating 1. Okay, yeah. At 15th, when you cast a spell targeting yourself, you can also affect a construct if it's within 30 feet of you. Your constructs automatically succeed on its saving throws against the spells you cast on them if you choose to do so. Okay. At 15th, the base creature is a challenge rating 2. Then there's multi-classing, yeah. It's a pet creating class. It's and these are all the spells that you can get. So I'm sure somewhere in this list there's some way to abuse the items one. And then this is an example of an automaton. Oh my god, okay. And then this is a list of possible creatures for automatons. Yeah. It's it was good. Like, it was good up until the 7th level thing. The thing which breaks it, or is it 7th? Yeah, the thing which breaks it is the Gadget Wonders upgrade. This ability breaks the class, in my opinion. Being able to create multiple constructs is silly. Maybe you could do 2, maybe at high level 3, but having it's actual economy. Someone was saying it before. Yeah, Kremdes was saying it as well. I'll drop a link. Oh no, that's a download. It's called the D&D5E Homebrew compilation PDF. I found it on Reddit, Mr. Gray. So action economy is basically how many attacks per round you make. So the big bad boss guy, if he only has one attack and there are 5 adventurers, the odds are that the 5 attacks on average are going to hit more than that one attack is going to hit hard. So that's that. But if you, as one party member, are making 5 or 6 attacks plus spells per round, and then all your party members are also making attacks, maybe you're making 10 or 11 attacks. Let's say some of them have multi-attack, 12, 13, 14 attacks. It gets to the point of ridiculousness. Using fantasy undergrounds, or do you mean fancy grounds? No, I don't use fancy grounds. I use Roll20. Yeah, say you're playing with a party of 5. Let's not go down that route. Let's not go down that route where you're playing with a party of 5 level 7 artificers who have taken this archetype. So, yeah, that upgrade breaks it. And I feel like the Gears Wander stuff, I feel like this could break. And I also feel like the Arcane Imbuer, I don't know exactly how it could be broken, but there's definite uses of that which could be exploited. I guess not broken, just exploited. But the upgrade thing is just broken. Engineer, I've played a lot of. It's actually very good. I didn't even consider more than one of these. So if I change it so you can create 2 automatons starting at 16th level, it might be somewhat better. Something like that, yeah. Maybe even less than that. Maybe at 7th you can get 1 extra, Even then it's strong. Your 5 contracts start to kill your party members and you go alone and kill the beholder at level 8. I mean, yeah. Go down the line of find a class or an archetype which can give advantage easily. So here's how you break the game. Find a class that can give advantage easily. I think something like the knight or the samurai, one of those can they grant advantage or they just have advantage? I don't know. Find something which can grant advantage. Find a way to give that to all these automatons. You've just broken the game. At level 7. Because the 30 members, if the entire party was just artificers, that's true. Try the concentration if the artificer fails, they have to fall apart, stop working for a while. Yeah. That's the way to do it. Wolf Barbarian, there you go. There's another one. It's one of the, is it a Druid circle which has come out recently, or a new Barbarian circle which has come out recently? Something like that. Yeah. So Engineer, I've actually Engineer is actually very good. I've played an Engineer before, so I don't want to review it because I've done it, and there's actually a lot of reading involved in the Engineer. So we're actually going to skip over this one. I'm sure this one's on EN World. You can tell that these are good because they're on EN World for the most part. Anything that they put out tends to be alright, really. Like the packs that they release and stuff like that I've seen featured. The ones I see featured by them are good, and obviously there's so much stuff on it. So we're going to look at some stuff which isn't done because that is like 20 pages, but to be fair, it's all good stuff. 5 years own sensitive issues, true, yeah. I mean, every game does, doesn't it? It's just sometimes classes exacerbate the issues of the game. Okay, so we're going to have a look here at the community handbook, Shaman, or Shaman, by Patty Cakey. By the way, if you guys are new to Encounter Roleplay and you're just dropping by, please do hit that follow button and join us. It helps me out a great deal. We're on our road to 10,000 followers, believe it or not, under 500 away. So if you are new, we're here 5 nights a week, 11 shows of Dungeons and Dragons every single week these days. So do feel free to join us, and here's all the social media if you want to follow that as well, along with YouTube. So let's have a look at the Shaman. I don't think I've actually looked at this one in detail in the past. So, Shaman. Mist floods the tent. And by the way, these were in 4E as well and previous editions. Mist floods the tent and wisps dance on the ceiling as a wizened orc raises one hand from the body in front of him, calling on his ancestors to lend him their strength and heal the wounded soldier. I'm going to move this across as well. I'm excited when I see it a little bit better. We're going to be creating a homebrew world later on, Mans, don't worry. That'll be coming later on. And thank you to Kaizaku Red for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar, and thank you to 3 points as well. You're also a gentleman and a scholar. We're going to, after this one, I'll look at some of your own stuff, because I've had some stuff sent in, so don't worry, I'll get to that in a couple of minutes here after we have a look at the Shaman. So, a small spectral fox dashed ahead of a young elf, prancing and jumping through an inconspicuous patch of snow on the path, warning her just in time on a trap in the road, sorry. They have spiritual power. They often have a spirit animal or ghostly companion whose essence the shaman binds into their own in order to fix them onto the shaman's plane. The form taken by the spirit animal is often a reflection of the shaman's inner self. Only spirits with the motivation to help others can become spirit animals, and although they are bound and incapable of refusing a shaman, they are often more than happy to serve. Cool. So, let's get into this. So you get spellcasting at level 1, as you might expect, and ritualist. You get cantrips and 4 spells known to first level. So, creating a shaman, this is just wisdom, should be our highest, followed by constitution. Thank you to Doppelganger Hunter for following as well. You're a gentleman and a scholar. What was that comment about the DM's Guild? They're good on bouncing compared to what people released on the DM's Guild. True. True. I've seen some hit and miss DM's Guild stuff, that's for certain. So, hit points, 1d8. Every single class that we've actually seen so far have been a 1d8. It's a popular die. 8 plus con. Proficiencies in light armor, medium armor, and shields. Weapons are clubs, daggers, javelins, quarterstaffs, and spears. You get herbalist kit tools, saving throws, and wisdom, charisma. You choose 2 skills from animal handling, insight, medicine, nature, perception, religion, and survival. You get equipment. Following equipment, any simple weapon, wooden shield, herbalist kit or simple weapon, leather armor, an explorer's pack, and a druidic focus. Pretty simple stuff thus far. So, spirit sense. At first level, you learn to open their mind and senses to detect the presence of lingering spirits. As an action, until the end of your next turn, you are aware of the creature type and location of any undead and elementals within 60 feet of you that are not behind total cover. You can also determine if a creature has died in the area within the last 24 hours. You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1 plus your wisdom modifier. So assuming at level 1, that might be 3 or 4 uses. 2, 3, or 4, I guess. When you finish a long rest, you regain all expended uses. Alright. That seems like an interesting utility thing within 60 feet of you. Sure. Spirit guide. Beginning at 2nd level. Can't seem to read. Yeah, strike a new overlay room. We're gonna be in this later on. The place I'm getting these classes from is just from Reddit. I just googled them. I'll probably find you a link later on. I just don't have it to hand as I've downloaded it. I'm using this right now. In fact, let me just go see if I can find it for you. It might take me a little minute though. No. I'll find it in a minute after the show. So, alright. So, Spirit Guide. Beginning at 2nd level, the Shaman gains the ability to cast the Find Familiar ritual, but instead of summoning a familiar, they summon a spirit animal. Okay. Choose from one of the following forms when you summon a Spirit Guide. Bear, wolf, coyote, eagle, owl, snake, or another if agreed to by the DM. Spirit uses a proficiency bonus if required of the Shaman. Your spirit animal stats are affected by the form it takes. These are the effects as below. Bear, +1 AC, +1 HP. Proficient per level. Proficient in athletics, strength. Additionally, becomes a medium fey. Wolf, +2 to AC. Proficient in perception and survival checks. Additionally, becomes a medium fey. An eagle or an owl, +1 to AC, gains a flight speed of 60 foot. Advantage on perception checks, relying on sight. Additionally, becomes a small celestial. A snake gains +5 to initiative, gains proficiency to stealth, dexterity checks, and has advantage to stealth checks. Additionally, it becomes a small fey. Okay, well, that sounds interesting. Sounds quite powerful. I mean, this is like being able to cast Find Familiar? Yeah, Find Familiar, but instead you get a spirit animal with all these extra stats. So these are the stats for a spirit animal? There's 3 done. Spirit boon. At 2nd level, when summoning a spirit animal, select 2 of the following boons to provide it. The spirit animal gains Limited telepathy to convey simple ideas, emotions, and images telepathically to a creature with 100 feet of it that can understand language. Wow. It's at second level. Curious spirit. As long as you're both on the same plane, you can choose to see through your spirit animal's eyes as well as sense what it senses. There's no range on this ability. Wow. Your spirit has advantage on saving throws against magical effects. Your spirit animal can use its reaction to impose disadvantage on an attack roll made by a creature within 5 feet of itself. Wait. No. It's a boon, so this can always do it, right? No secret cow level yet. There is Happy New Year, Frog. How's it going, buddy? There is, from what I've seen here, let me read again. Is there any like uses your reaction, uses your bonus action? Has advantage on saving throws. Your spirit animal can use. Okay, so it can use its reaction. Didn't read this properly. To impose disadvantage on one attack roll made by a creature in 5 feet of itself. Okay. That's still really good. How often do you use your reaction? Your spirit animal gains the ability... When you're a fucking spirit animal. Your spirit animal gains the ability to cast the following cantrips at will. Mending Light and Dancing Lights. That's good. From what I understand, it has this, right? Armor class 13, hit points 5, speed 30, 10, 10, 12, 6, 14, 10. Has a lot of damage resistances and immunities and condition immunities. Psychic Link. I guess this is just one example, maybe? Maybe this is just one example. Opportunity attacks made against your spirit animal as it is leaving a creature's reach are taken with disadvantage for an elusive spirit. Yeah, reaction is 1 per round, so there you go. Insightful Spirit. When you make a check using a Charisma, Intelligence, or Wisdom modifier skill in which you are proficient, your spirit can offer its assistance, allowing the Shaman to double their proficiency bonus to a roll. If they already added double their proficiency bonus, there is no effect. This can be used a number of times per day equal to the Shaman's Wisdom modifier. Okay. Thus far, Guardian Spirit is kind of ridiculous. Awakened Spirit and Curious Spirits are both really good as well. Once per short rest, your spirit animal can cast Speak with Animals or Animal Friendship. Okay. As an action, your spirit animal can grant temporary hit points equal to the Shaman's Wisdom modifier to a willing creature within 5 feet of it. These temp hit points last 5 minutes. Okay. Your spirit animal's advantage on wisdom checks, survival, made on checks for tracking and locating shelter or food, or it gains dark vision 120 feet and can see through magical darkness. Okay, we're getting a lot of stuff very early on here for level 2. This spirit animal is going to be pretty damn good. Probably going to end up better than you are. Alright, so you get 2 of those. It's like 2 of the following boons. You choose durable spirit every time, and probably awakened spirit as well. Maybe curious spirit, yeah. Shaman archetype. At 3rd level, the shaman selects an archetype to focus the nature and aspect of the power. They become seers for the spirits, either as seers of forgiveness. Okay, cool. So additional spirit boon. At beginning of 7th level, the shaman... Oh, right, I've read ahead, I think. Maybe, no. No, I haven't. Okay. Beginning of 7th level, the shaman's connection to the spirit becomes so potent and powerful that when you summon a spirit animal, you may select an additional spirit boon. At 15th level, your connection grows stronger still, allowing you to select a 4th boon. That's how I suggested they should do the abilities earlier on in the Adept. If I wanted to ask, yeah, right? If your DM allows it, apparently it's okay. At 10th level, the spirit around the shaman offers aid, trying to protect them. When you gain this feature, you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or feared. That's fine. On 17th level, when shaman summons a spirit animal, their physical form changes and they gain the same benefits provided by the chosen animal type to themselves. If the animal form provides a proficiency that shaman already has, instead adds double the proficiency bonus to that skill. Okay. That could be really powerful, I guess. With the boons that it has, seeing it has 4 boons on it. The spirit sight, your connection to the spirits is so powerful that you begin Begin to see things beyond spirits. You're always under the effects of the true seeing spell. So you get true sight, basically. Okay. Honestly, like, the most ridiculous stuff is early on, which is why it's a problem. Like, you can have ridiculous stuff in a class. It's just having it really early on is potentially dangerous for the balance of a class. Alright. Shaman archetypes. The Seer of Forgiveness. You believe in the material world and the spirit world are meant to live in harmony. At 3rd level, the Shaman gains 1 additional cantrip. Soothing Voices. At 3rd level, you can summon spirits to bombard a target with soothing tones and chants. As an action, you can target 1 creature within 60 feet. The target must make a wisdom saving throw or become your choice of charmed or feared for 1 hour. Wow. If a creature succeeds on a save, they are immune to this ability for 24 hours. This ability can be used a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier per long rest. Wow, okay. Wow. Wisdom modifier is your highest as well. Okay, cool. Lot of fearing. A lot of fearing. New classes that we're looking at. They're not like official new classes, the homebrew ones. True sight, OP. Crush them under 1 claw-like finger. Pretty much. That's pretty much what Tarrasques do. By the way, is the text too small for you guys? Would you like me to zoom in on stuff so you can have a read yourself? I don't want to be hurting anyone's eyes. I realize that it might look a little small on my little screen here. So, then of course we have a 6th level, Spirit Echoes. Your words and chants giving you their power. Whenever you cast a spell, choose a creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself to be healed for an amount equal to the casted spell's level. At 14th level, once per long rest, the Shaman can use their action to dismiss a spirit animal, restoring a number of hit points equal to the spirit animal's hit point maximum to any willing creature within 60 feet. Healing can be distributed and split as the Shaman wishes. Oh, okay, it's like a lay on hands. Sure thing, I will zoom in. I'm on like zoom on like 200% right now. So you can the base level of this thing is actually really small. Okay, we'll zoom in and around. Like so. So, Seer of Revenge. I mean, the Seer of Forgiveness is actually fine. If you cast a spell, choose a creature to be healed for an amount equal to the casted spell's level. I mean, that's not ridiculous. The 14th is pretty powerful, but I mean, it's not ridiculous. You always have to get rid of your animal spirit guide companion. So, yeah, I mean, that's fine. The only problem is the stuff earlier on is kind of redonk. Yeah, maybe I should put it in front of mine. I know I can't really do that. Maybe I can. Without. No, I can't. Okay. So, cut my own face in. So, Seer of Revenge. They seek not the harmonious coexistence between spirits and living, but instead choose to follow a darker path. At 3rd level, you become proficient in martial weapons. Ah, okay. Alright. That's alright. Spiritual Rage. At 3rd level, you learn how to tap into the rage and fury of lingering spirits during the heat of battle. Let's pull this out a little bit here. During the heat of battle. When you hit an enemy with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 Shaman spell slot to deal psychic damage to the target in addition to the weapon's damage. The extra damage is 1d8 for a 1st level spell slot, plus 1d8 for each spell slot level higher than 1st, to a maximum of 5d8. This cannot be used in conjunction with a Paladin's Divine Smite feature. Ooh. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Divine Smite would be, woo. 1d8 per 1st level spell slot, plus another d8 for each spell level higher than that. That's cool. At 6th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn, so it's extra attack. Spirit Shield. At the 14th level, the Shaman can use a bonus action on their turn to dismiss their spirit animal, allowing it to linger and protect the Shaman. For 1 minute after sacrificing your spirit animal, you sacrifice it. Once per turn, when you hit a target, you gain temporary hit points equal to your wisdom modifier plus your constitution modifier. These temporary hit points last for 10 minutes. Then you get spellcasting, which is just the same as most stuff. Shaman spells and Shaman levels. And that's the art credits there. Okay, well, I actually don't mind a shaman. Like, when yeah, pretty OP in conjunction with crits. That's true. An orc barbarian shaman would be pretty good, actually. Yeah, it's powerful, but it's not as so. Okay, so if we'd been looking previously at just some normal 5e Wizards of the Coast printed classes, I would say, wow, this thing is strong. In particular, the Seer of Revenge, and in particular, all of the Spirit Guide stuff that you get at level 2. However, the fact that we've been looking at some totally blasted and broken classes in the past 2 hours before this, means that this doesn't seem so bad, honestly. The early stuff, Spirit Guide, I mean, Summerly's a bit too powerful, I'd say. Guardian Spirit's a little bit too powerful. Maybe Awakened Spirit is as well. Just back over here. So, it's not perfect by any means. But, if you tweaked the first level, 2-level stuff, and then you tweaked Spiritual Rage, you would have a fairly balanced class, I'd say. They'd still be strong. But they wouldn't be as kind of bad as, I say bad, as powerful as they are right now. You just need to make a few tweaks to this on, and I think you'd have a fairly viable class, honestly. Fairly viable. At first, I was looking at this and I'm thinking, oh no, this is going to be like the others. Spirit Animal is going to be ridiculous and everything else, but it actually seems to me to be a well thought out class. Even if some of the abilities are a little bit too powerful, I think that's just the product of needing more playtesting and maybe needing more opinions on it. Strong counterpart to the weak monks. I mean, some monks are very, very good. I mean, you can do some ridiculous things. We were actually talking earlier in chat about some ridiculous things that you could do with like Werewolf and Hand monks. Shamans have the ability to do more spellcasting stuff, and the action economy of having their Spirit Guide around. As you can tell, they can become very powerful Spirit Guides. If you combo this with a multi-class into the Barbarian, one of the most recent Unearthed Arcana ones, that gives you the totems, this could be really, really good. Because both of them are good. So that's the Shaman. We're going to take a look at a couple user-created ones. So I've had a couple sent in. The first was from our very own Mo, who you might have seen around on the shows. So he has created Wisdom of the Land. Let's see what these guys are. They look like Grung. I'm excited. So you have the Anura. Yeah. Zoom in a little bit on these ones so we can get a better look at them. So the Anura are divine creatures that live in the swamplands, the forests, and the tropical areas of Faerun. Each Anura is different from the other, be it slight patterns, build, or even personality. The Anura are usually known to be druids of the forest, but various Anura may be different as they connect to nature in different ways. They are also known to be great fighters, such as the famous Anura Knight, building legend of a new campaign soon. Okay, cool. They're agile and sticky. They can jump as high as 20 feet. They live in peace, but are capable of war. And here's some names. Let's get on to the crunch. The crunch. So, the ability score increase. Your dexterity score increases by 2. They mature at the rate of around 6 years and on average of about 40. They're small. Small as halflings. Walk speed is 20 and jumping height is 10. That's interesting. Anura can breathe air and water. Within the night of the swamp, they're able to see through the darkness. Seeing 30 feet of dim light is bright light, and 10 feet of darkness is dim light. They cannot discern color in darkness, only shades of grey. Anura have cold damage vulnerability. They have advantage on grapple checks. They're able to slip out of any grapple with ease. Does that need a yeah, I guess, yeah. So they have advantage. Grappling isn't too common, I guess. So they have advantage on athletics checks. On a success, they can stick onto a smooth surface with no penalties. So you need a success before you can just go out the walls. Gafor, god of the grung. What game is this from? I don't know myself. This is a homebrew one from a friend. You can speak and read common, one bonus language depending on subrace. You get 3 subraces. Excuse my yawning, it's New Year's tiredness. I streamed last night. Cold vulnerability is pretty brutal. It's pretty good. If you are an ice dude, I mean, you're gonna screw him. Yeah, that's a good way to... I like vulnerabilities in races, though. So your ability score increases by 1. And you've already had your dexterity score increased by 2. So the tattered pattern. Intelligence scores by 1. Okay, we've got some coloured text here. This is interesting. Speak, read, comment, and draconic. This condition, poison mucus, lasts for 12 seconds, 2 rounds. Roll 1d6 for the type of mucus. Okay. 1, 6 is poison, 2 and 4 paralysis, 3 and 5 is slime. Something I'd say for something which seems intuitive to me and user-friendly should be 1 and 2 poison, 3 and 4 paralysis, 5 and 6 and slime. Because 1 and 6 poison doesn't seem to make too much sense to me. Poison immunity instead of resistance, yeah, maybe so. So this condition, the special trait can only be used twice. You can regain this trait after a long rest. As a bonus action, so this is poison. As a bonus action, you can coat your weapon with your mucus, adding a 1d4 damage poison roll. After you use this trait twice, you must use a short rest or a long rest to get the trait back. Paralysis. The special trait can be used 3 times a day. You can regain this trait after dawn. If an attacker gets in physical contact with your mucus, he must make a Constitution saving throw against 6, plus your Constitution bonus. If failed, it becomes paralyzed. Actually, a very low roll to have to make. If it becomes paralyzed, but it's really strong paralysis, it must make a Strength saving throw at disadvantage against 6 plus your Constitution bonus. If succeeded, the target will automatically be prone, but the paralysis will wear off. When does it make the save? So if an attacker gets in physical contact with your mucus, presumably your blade, to make a Constitution saving throw against 6 plus cons. That's to see if he makes it or not. If he failed, he becomes paralyzed, and then if he fails another one, he'll fall over, but the paralysis will wear off. Huh. A lot of variables, yeah. Yeah, the number choice should be edited, I think. Paralysis, you gotta be careful with paralysis. It's such a strong condition. Paralysis is actually stronger than poison in this case. I mean, getting to this 3 times a day, I mean, you could link this into the long rest stuff and maybe turn it down to 1 or 2, I'd say, maybe for paralysis. Because poison mucus is like random, right? Yeah. How do you... Yeah, okay. It needs a little bit more explaining, I think, to make it kind of user-friendly. Like, how you use the mucus. Do you only get one of them? You know, stuff like that. It took me a couple of times to read through. So, Branch Bouncing Anura. This is a second archetype. Your wisdom score increases by 1. You can speak, read common, and Sylvan. Ambitious Pounce. They have advantage on dexterity acrobatics checks. The forest dwelling Anura, growing up in the forest of the tropics, have adapted to their surroundings. Their legs are much stronger than the usual Anura. Their jump height is increased by 10 feet for a total of 20. As a main action, you can pounce on the enemy in sight of a radius of 20 feet, knocking them prone on a failed dexterity saving throw, DC 12, and using up your walking speed. You have to clarify that they have to roll a saving throw. As a bonus action on the same turn, you can engage 5 feet away from the target. Disengage 5 feet away from the target. Yeah, like on roll D6, just a 3, or maybe just like a 6 or something like that. Or a 1 of those. Yeah. Amphibious Pounce, I think, isn't quite as strong as Poison Mucus. Not as necessarily a bad thing. Pounce on enemy in sight, knocking them prone. So you can jump 20, knock them prone, move 20. And disengage 5 feet away as a bonus action. I guess it's fine. I guess it's super good if you're like roguing around and you want advantage and stuff. Your strength score increases by 1 for the thick-watered Anura. You can speak, read Common, and Dwarvish, interestingly enough. I don't know if the language choice is needed for this sub-race. Getting Dwarvish. Or Draconic seems a little odd, maybe. The thick-watered Anura are known to release hallucinogenic spores from their backs. As an action on your turn, you can dispense a thick hallucinogenic cloud of spores in a 15-foot radius, forcing every creature in that radius to make a Constitution saving throw against 8+ your Wisdom. Bonus. If failed, the creature is frightened. The effect wears off if the target is doused with water, or through spells that remove this effect, the cloud lasts for 12 seconds. That's kind of cool. 15-foot radius. Constitution saving for 8+ Wisdom. Cloud lasts for 2 rounds. 2 rounds of frightened. That could be very powerful in pack melees. Yeah, no, I know Doppelganger, but it needs to be clarified, I think. Not too much a fan of races that do direct combat abilities. I'm okay with Dragonborn Breath, but even that's pretty shit overall. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like sometimes damage on a race is like, I don't know, not great. Not many races do it, which means you need to save yourself. Yeah. Forcing every creature, unless its center of origin is you, in which case it doesn't. I suppose. I don't know. That would need to be clarified. So this is another one. This is the Geodine, the second race, the second to last race. Geodines are mysterious creatures from the deep, undiscovered Underdark areas that evolved from a large surge of wild magic. The Underquakes damaged their previous homes and drove them out into the known Underdark areas. Their stony skin tone and rocky formation on their backs indicate what kind of kindergarten they came from. From many gems and rock types, the incubation style. Kindergarten's funny. Kindergarten cop. Sturdiness goes a long way. Heard that before. So, you got names, and the ability score increases, Constitution increases by 1. They tend to be true neutral. Have no alignment limitations, good. Walking speed is 20. So they move really slowly. You can count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the weight you can lift, drag, or pull. Due to their stony interior, their armor class is 9 plus proficiency plus your constitution bonus, and you can only equip shields. I guess maybe it should clarify not armor. If that's the case. At third level, as a bonus action, you can shoot 3 sub-race related spikes from your hands, making a ranged damage attack. Damage is 1d6 piercing damage. This attack can crit, and its damage becomes 3d6 piercing damage. Wow. Wow, okay. The range is only between 30 to 60 feet. You can regain this feature every 40 seconds in combat. Every 4 rounds. You can shoot 3 sub-race related spikes from your hands, making a ranged damage attack. Each one is a 3d6. Okay. Happy New Year, Sue. Happy New Year. Needs to be trimmed down, all the stuff is good. Yeah. Wow, okay. That's, if I'm reading this correctly, and I do admit, it's New Year's Day, so I'm a little bit hungover, but, that seems really, really good. Art of Geomancing sounds really, really good. So, rock and roll. As a bonus action, they can roll at their targets up to 40 feet in a straight line. What? This trait can only be used twice and regained after a long rest. As a bonus action, they can roll at their targets up to 40 feet in a straight line. What? I like the feel of it, but maybe trim that down from 40 feet. I guess they can't move very much at all, usually. Around 6 seconds. 40 seconds, what the fuck? What does it say, 40 seconds? Oh yeah, that needs to be added. Each round is 6 seconds, so 4 rounds, 6 times 4. You do the maths. 24. Something like that. Seems interesting, but also severely limits your AC. Almost level 1 you could have 16 AC, and if you have 20 con, true, yeah. We're doing good, Sue. We're doing good. We celebrated New Year's together, and now we are celebrating new shows and stuffs. New overlays and new things. Ooh, new shiny things. Yay. So you can read Undercommon, Common, and Primordial, and Speaker, of course. You get free sub-race ability scores. Okay, there's also another one down now. These sub-races can only increase ability scores. Stone, Constitution ability score, and Strength. So the Constitution and Strength scoring both increased by 1. The Intelligence score increased by 2 for the gem. The Metallic, no ability score increase. Well, then you can't say free sub-races that only increase ability scores, because this one doesn't increase ability score. Metallic, the Rocky armor is now overdrawn with metallic properties, turning your armor class equal to 11 plus your proficiency bonus plus your Constitution bonus. So I guess with that sub-race you could end up doing getting more AC. New fancy overlays. Ooh. Perfect for monk class. Ah, man. You mean the rock and roll ability? It probably would be, actually. Rolling towards your enemies. I thought that the Anura was a little bit more balanced in this one. I feel like the Geodine are a little bit unbalanced. A little bit too powerful. I feel like Art of Geomancing, the damage stuff is a bit too much. The ability to crit could be taken away, maybe. Gates do 3 each turn. 3 d6 each turn as a bonus action. And every 4 rounds in combat. Couple of things that need to be looked at there, I think. Couple of things that need to be looked at. So, that's the Geodine. I'm going to look at, the Healing Shaman. So this is created by, oh my god, I've forgotten the username. Created by Cricky Dota, who's in the chat currently, sent this in to me on a message. I'm going to recap so we get all of it in. In fact, I'm just going to zoom out of this a little bit here so we can try and get all of it in. Can we move this across? No, we can. That would be useful, wouldn't it? We'll recap this one because it's a slightly different size to everything else that we've been using. Let's use that there, like so. So this is the Healing Shaman. We previously looked at 2 different Shaman archetypes. Oh, 2 different, well, no, 1 different Shaman class which had 2 different archetypes, but it didn't have any healing archetype as such. So that should be interesting. Everything work in progress. Naturally. I move this across here just so we can try and get all of it in. Try and fit it in here. Try and fit it all in. There we go. That just about gets it all in. We'll do that. So the Shaman class role is a healer, gaining healing and secondary supporting spells and class abilities. He uses spirits instead of spell slots to cast his spells. Interesting. He needs to bind them during a short or long rest. Other than the other spellcasting classes, he can use these spirits to bind them into a totem. A totem needs to be carved out during a short rest by nobody else other than the shaman himself. While carving a totem, the shaman uses one of his gathered spirits to make it a source of positive power. While leveling, the shaman chooses one of 3 ways to become one of the spirits and their powers. So, I'm guessing that these are the 3 ways. So these would need to be kind of like categorized as like archetypes, or whatever you want to call them, like shaman primal paths. I think he means 4 rounds, but I think he means 24 seconds. Geodine Mongo POP. Yeah. Please nerf Blizzard. So, Totemist, support and buffer. You got the Voodoo Doctor, which is offensive. We can't even read the Voodoo Doctor, guys. It's too offensive. Spirit Weaver is energetic, heal, increase. Choose a target. Okay, so it gets heal increase. Choose a target within 60 feet you can see. It gets healed by the level of the spell you cast. Okay, so that's similar to something we saw earlier. So that works, yeah. Health is 1d8. Yeah, proficiency, light and medium armor, no metal. Simple weapons and a spiritual totem. You get saving throws in wisdom and constitution. Skill proficiency, choose 2 of these: animal handling, history, religion, survival, insight, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, arcana. Cool. Doesn't get any tools. Gets a dagger or 5 javelins. Gets a quarterstaff or a spear. Or gets a leather armor plus 1 dagger and spirit totem and explorer's pack. Okay. So we have a little table here. Hey, what's up, crazy hippie? How's it going? Not done yet, sadly. No worries, no worries. I think that this is all work in progress, so we can help you bits here. So, proficiency of 2, features spirit binding and spellcasting. You get cantrips 1 damage and 4 support. So this is spirits, I guess. So this is... Okay, so if you have cantrips, I guess you might need to call these spirit cantrips, because that would be confusing, because cantrips don't have the classification of damage and support, I suppose. We'll read more into the spirit binding and stuff like this. So spirits. The shaman can gather spirits of his surroundings. He can perform this during a short or long rest, where he will meditate and communicate to the spirits to lend him their powers. He can gather 1 spirit per hour, so 1 per short rest and 2 per long rest. While gathering... So if you can gather 1 spirit per hour, surely a long rest could be like 8 hours, no? While gathering spirits, he is unconscious due to his soul leaving his body to find and communicate with the spirits. The shaman can commune with the spirits on his watch during a long rest, but will have disadvantage on perception checks and his passive perception is reduced by 5. If his trance is broken by any other circumstance and him ending it, the spirits will be lost for that time and he needs to start anew. Okay. Good, glad to hear it, Crazy AP. Yes, 2 per long rest, 6 hours sleeping, 2 hours watch. Okay. Okay. Spellcasting. 8 plus prof plus wisdom. When the shaman wants to cast a spell, he calls upon the spirits he summoned with, he communed with, to grant their powers. The amount of spiritual power needed to cast a specific spell is defined by the spell's level. Half? I guess, and it needs to be 1/2, rounded down, plus 1. If the shaman wants to cast a 5th level spell, for example, he needs to spend... Okay. I'm confused. 5 is 2, rounded down, plus 1 is 3. Okay, so 3 spirits. You need 3 spirits to cast a 5th level spell. Okay. So, Totemic at level... Let's see how much stuff we got. Okay, so Totemic at level 2, 6, 11, and 16. Shaman can spend an hour during a long or short rest carving out a totem out of wood. He can then ask the spirits for guidance to bless the totem. The amount of spirits that would be needed to cast a spell will then bind inside the totem until their release. A blessed totem contents at first level. A blessed totem contains a first level spell that does not target enemies or harm them. The totem will be activated by the shaman, calling upon the spirits inside the totem using his reaction. This needs to be like fleshed out, I think, because currently I'm not entirely sure what it does. So it contains a first level spell that does not target humans or harm them. You might want to give them a list that they can choose from, or you might just want to have one. You might just have one like choice. It just does a thing. Only 2 spirits gain a long rest, so I can't do a 5th level spell then. Yeah, I guess so. The spirits thing, I guess this is like maximum spirits, so I could only do level 3. The shaman becomes 1 nature of the elements, allowing him to choose between 1 of 3 specializations coming later. Okay. Natural healing. The shaman becomes better at mending wounds and curing diseases. His spirits guide him when healing someone and adds 1d4 used spirits plus proficiency modifier. Okay, so 1d4 per used spirits here. Plus proficiency plus spellcasting modifier on it. Additionally, when using the healer's kit, the shaman can use 2 instead of 1 charge to cure 1 disease while applying the healer's kit to heal on a creature. I don't know if that's needed, that bit there. It could have another feature. A good berry totem. Yes, oh my god, can you imagine how good that would be? Would be some good berries. And an animal spirit. At 5th level, the shaman can perform a ritual for 2 hours to manifest one of the following animal spirits that will be bound to the shaman by his soul. You need to take a long rest first to complete this ritual again. The shaman can dismiss the spirit at any time. The spirit's color is blue, green, or purple, and can use basic skills such as stealth or tracking skills as well as attacks during your combat. The spirit will automatically attack any enemy that harms you, or if you did not get hurt yet during this fight, the closest enemy to you. The spirit can attack with a spirit attack using your spellcasting modifier and proficiency and dealing 1d6 plus your spellcasting modifier damage. If the spirit dies, something else happens. And then 10th, the animal spirit gains a tribute bonuses equal to its bonuses from. I'm not sure what that means either. I feel like this needs a lot of like clarification, all this stuff. Look at what the shaman did here, and take some of the ideas and make them your own, I'd say. Because some of the ideas in this shaman have been more kind of like fleshed out because they've had more time to work on it. I think the idea of it is good. I don't know if the spirits thing is a hit, or if it's easier just to go with spells. I don't as such necessarily see the value of using spirits instead of spell slots for the mechanics of the game. I understand that it like thematically fits the shaman more so than like a spell slot might. But I think for mechanics in the game, anytime you ask a player to learn a new mechanic is very difficult. So maybe don't link them with the spells. Maybe have spirits be doing other things. Maybe they can buff the totems. Maybe they can buff your healing. You could use spirits as like an extra die that you could use on things. You know, your spirit die could be an extra 1d4 that you get to use on certain rolls, and stuff like that. I feel like with some work, send this in to me next week and we'll have another look at it. This could be kind of interesting. But I think it just needs some refinement. It does need some clarification on some points, and most likely a lot of playtesting as well. So what we have here is a kind of early draft of some cool ideas about a healing shaman. And consider this as well. If you have a shaman class such as this one here, you could always make a smaller project. Could be to create an archetype for that shaman instead of its own new class. Instead of having to compete with other homebrew classes, you could just have an archetype which is healing shaman stuff. So that's another option there. But thank you to Cricky for sending that in, and thank you to Mo for sending the Geodine in as well. We're going to continue looking at a couple more on this PDF that I have here. Thank you to Fraggles for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you, sir, and also thank you to Laurelania for that hot host. So let's open up this one again. Which one do we want? I guess this one. And let's have another look at some of the stuff that I found online on the PDF. And if you guys do have any homebrew material that you guys have made, or a friend of yours has made, or you just like me to look at, you found something cool and you want to see if it's good or if I think it's completely broken, then please do send them in and I'll give you an honest opinion on them. Hopefully I'm not mean about anyone's work, and I feel like all of you guys do create some excellent stuff, but things do need refinement and tuning sometimes, so feedback is always a good thing to get. And I do play a sickening amount of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, so I have a bit of experience when it comes to doing these things. Also, if you haven't followed yet, hit that follow button and join us. Our follower goal for today is, of course, 20 followers. We are just 3 followers away. We're only halfway into this show today, so we're doing great stuff. If you haven't followed yet, please do join us for all of the host of shows that you can find here, hosted by myself, Will, on Encounter Roleplay. Now, Rise Crookie, whenever you get a chance, my friend, will there be workshops on creating characters? Yes, there will. There will be a homebrew review workshop. I could even do that next week if that was something that you were interested in, and I could do creating homebrew characters, or just creating how to create a character as well. A lot of magic items are made for Storm King's Thunder games. Here's the link. All right, I'll check this out, and then we'll go look at some more homebrew classes from this PDF here. So this is on from Splepage. So, we have magic items, the Foe Seeker. Hand axe requires attunement by a dwarf. There's a dwarf. That's interesting. Return. When you make a ranged attack using this weapon, it flies back to your hand immediately after the attack. That's cool. That's pretty cool. I'll read a couple of these. I won't go through all of them. So, Echoes of Battle Past. When drawn in battle, this axe hums of long-lost battle hymns. As a bonus action, you can toss the axe into the air and chant along in Dwarvish. When you do so, the axe begins to hover, flies 20 feet, and attacks one creature of your choice within 5 feet of it. Wow. The attack uses your attack roll and ability score modifier to damage roll. While the attack hovers, you can use a bonus action to cause it to fly up to 30 feet to another spot within 20 feet of you. As part of the same bonus action, you can cause the axe to cause attack one creature within 5 feet of it. Damn, that's good. After the hovering axe attacks for the third time, it flies up to 20 feet and tries to return to your hand. If you have no hands free, it falls to the ground at your feet. If the axe has no obstructed path to you, it moves as close to you as it can and then falls to the ground. It also ceases to hover if you grasp it or move more than 20 feet away from it. Once used to make a total of 3 attacks, this property can't be used until the next dawn. Yeah, I was going to say, If you could do this every round, like, oh my god, this would be good. Pretty too powerful then, but this seems this seems reasonable. Being able to use it 3 times until dawn, and you can use it as normal act. I like the idea that it's only for dwarves as well. It's a very dwarfy thing. I like, although I hate this in video games and like MMOs and stuff, like you pick up a bit of loot, it's like, you can only use this if you're a dwarf. And it's like, oh man, that sucks. But in something like D&D, that's kind of cool. That you can kind of give it to a certain member of the party who, you know, who needs something like that. Alright, let's see. Let's have a look at what the Collar of Unity does. So the Collar of Unity is a wondrous archetype, item, sorry. Someone says they got a class archetype. Yeah, happily. I will save a link there. Oh shit, we're almost breaking our 100 viewer mark. Okay, sure. I will open it there. We'll have a look in a minute. So the Collar of Unity is magically linked to a unique pair of braces of Unity. When both the Ranger and the Companion are within 30 feet of each other, the Companion's natural weapons count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. Wow. The Animal Companion's advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Okay, so it's much better for the bond side of things. Yeah. That's cool. It requires achievement by an Animal Companion, so it's revised Ranger hype up in here. Hello. Cool, yeah, I like it. Getting magical attacks for resistances isn't ridiculously powerful. That's a wondrous item, so you don't have the million of them floating around. So I'll look at one more from this one. We're going to have a look at a Harper brooch because Myth's character in Storm King's Thunder can a half-dwarf use this item. That's good shout, the frog. Probably a DM shout, right? Probably a DM shout. Certainly, I would probably allow a half-dwarf to use this weapon, yeah. But your DM might feel differently, who knows. The Harper brooch is a wondrous item which requires attunement by anyone. Shielded Mind. While wearing this brooch, you are immune to magic that allows other creatures to read your thoughts, determine whether you are lying, or know your creature type. Creatures can telepathically communicate with you only if you allow it. Wow, okay. That's cool. Harper's Secret. You can use an action. This is super good against Mind Flayers and Illithids, by the way. You can use an action to cause the brooch to become invisible until you use another action to make it visible. Until you remove the brooch, or until you die. That's cool. Yeah, it's again, this is something which isn't really ridiculously broken. Magic items really don't have to be kind of like, oh my god, it does 50 damage. It can be little effects like this that are kind of situationally useful. And on top of that, you know, campaign useful as well. Star Trek communicator badge, yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I won't go through all of these. There are lots of them here, but maybe next week we'll have a couple more looks at some of these. I like these. So this is one that Zanis has sent in. Yeah, Spleppage made it, so he's got links in chat and stuff, I'm sure, for you. Fuck boy. Yeah, School of Theology is a wizard's one. Yeah, a wizard's archetype sent in by our very own Zanis. He did not make it, but he thinks it's cool. So we'll see if we agree with him, shall we? So, or if we hate it. Although they may be rare, not all of those who worship the gods do so through faith alone. And though the idea might seem equally strange, not all those who study magic do so to selfishly unlock the secrets of the universe for themselves. The very few wizards trained academically in the ways of magic choose to follow the commandments of gods rather than their own mortal whims. These scholars apply what they know of the basic construction of reality to better understand the workings of the divine, harnessing holy magic as easily as the arcane. That's pretty cool. That's a good idea because we haven't had any kind of like paladin-y wizards, you know? It's kind of like one or the other. It's like science versus religion in D&D. But the feel of the class is cool. Let's see what they've got. Sacred Scholar. Anything which says scholar is good. At 2nd level, you begin your study into the magic of the divine. You may now learn a number of spells from the cleric spell list as though they were wizard spells, up to cleric spells of 6th level. You have a maximum number of cleric spells that you may know at any one time, which is equal to half your wizard level rounded down. If you attempt to learn a cleric spell when you already know the maximum number of cleric spells for your next level, you may choose one of your cleric spells to be replaced. Makes sense. You learn and cast divine magic in the same way as normal wizard spells. To learn a cleric spell, you add it to your spell book. To then cast a spell, you must prepare it during a long rest. Yep. And if you gain a level, you can get additional spells. When you do 18th level, you're pretty doing crazy shit. So, Heavenly Domain. At 2nd level, you focus your study into one of the cleric domains. Choose a single domain that reflects your god's powers in some way. Thus, if you're a worshipper of Thor, you might select either the Tempest domain or the War domain, reflecting Thor's powers. At 2nd, and again at 3rd, 5th, at 7th, and 9th, you learn the domain spells of your chosen domain. At each of these levels, you may only learn one wizard or cleric spell, rather than the 2 you normally learn at each level. Furthermore, you gain access to the 2nd level Channel Divinity feature of your chosen domain. Wow, okay, cool. So you get the Channel Divinity as well. That's super nice. It's like basically playing a cleric at this point, but with the bonuses of being a wizard. It's like less choice. Like, wizards get the most variety and choice in their spellcasting abilities than anyone else. So you sacrifice choice in like the variety of wizard spells for the ability to get channel divinities and some really powerful cleric abilities as well. Clerics have some nice stuff going for them, especially in like the healing realms, you know. So at 6th level, righteous spellcasting, you learn how to channel divine power to aid your allies. As a bonus action, whenever you cast one of your cleric spells, you may cause one of the following effects. Smiteful. When you use this effect, deal 1d6 radiant damage per level of the spell to a target of your choice within range of the spell. The spell may be a different creature than the one targeted by the initial spell. Radiant damage per level of the spell as well. It doesn't have to be the same one. So you can kind of like... That's like spell cleaving. That's like the ability from Thori, cleave. But spells. That's kind of neat. When you use this effect, Graceful, heal 1d6 health per level of the spell to a target of your choice within range of the spell. Maybe a different creature than the one targeted. You may use this effect a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, with spent uses recharging on a long rest. Okay, cool. Alright, neat. That's pretty cool. And the side bolt. Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Well played. Well played. Student of Words. At 6th level, you have reached a pivotal point in your academic career. Your studies have made you an esteemed scholar of your god, well respected for the sheer breadth of knowledge of the divine. You learn either abyssal, celestial, or infernal, depending on your god. You also gain the ability to learn cleric spells by instruction from a cleric. Cool. To learn a cleric spell in this way, you must be able to study under a cleric of your level or higher. You may only learn spells that are on a cleric's domain spell list. Thus, you may not learn Cool Lightning for any clerics, save one of the Tempest domain. To learn the spell, you must spend a long rest during studying with the cleric, and you and the cleric may not prepare spells during this time. To successfully learn the spell, you make either an Intelligence Arcana or Intelligence Religion check against the spell save DC of the cleric you're being taught by. On a success, you add it to your spell book. That's pretty cool. Like teaching spells. Teaching spells, isn't it? That's something new, really. Like, usually wizards have to, you know, like you write it down in your fucking spell book, and then you, like suddenly you know it, you know. No longer. Why can't I roll? God damn it, Mordok. So yeah, I kind of like that actually. Being able to, and then the save, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense to me. So, Glorious Arcana. At 10th level, you learn how to imbue a spark of divine power into your arcane spells. As a bonus action when casting a spell, you may spend a single bit of holy energy into a spell, causing one of the effects of righteous spellcasting feature, which is one of these. Smiteful or Graceful. Additionally, you may use a bonus action and expend a spell slot 5th level or higher to cause one of the following effects once per long rest. Radiant Fireball. Hey, Mr. Joe, what's up, buddy? How you doing today, my friend? We're looking at some homebrew classes and races today, so. Yeah, okay, that's Radiant Fireball. You create a fireball imbued with divine radiance and hurl it at your enemies. When you use this feature, you cast a fireball spell at a level equal to half the spell slot expended, rounded up. The spell does half its damage as radiant, rounded down, and half as fire. Thus, if a normal fireball of that level would deal 76 fire damage, this effect will deal 3d6 damage and 4d6 fire damage. So this would be radiant damage, 3d6 and 4d6 radiant damage. Okay, cool. That's pretty funny. Homebrew, the best brew. What's the difference between sorcerer and wizards? Wizards, they have different spell lists. They have different ways that they learn spells. They have different modifiers. In the fluff, wizards have to learn their power. Sorcerers are kind of born with a natural innate resource that they can find from within themselves. So I guess example of sorcerer. So example of a wizard would be like Harry Potter. You know, it's like learn all this stuff. But then an example of who's a good sorcerer from fiction that I could think of? I don't know, if like Gandalf or something like that, he's just like born of this power, you know, he's just one of the 3 wizards. I don't know if that's true in like the lore of Lord of the Rings or not, but I'm sure you guys can name some good sorcerers who would be sorcerers, I guess. So Master Theologian. Oh wait, no, Dispel Injury. You imbue a Dispel magic spell of holy energy to restore hit points and negate magical effects. Roll 1d4 per level of the spell slot expended. You have that many points to restore health with or to end magical ailments. Dispelling a magical effect costs points equal to double the level of the spell. Casting lesser restoration costs 6 points. You retain these points for 3 turns and then they disappear if not used. Okay. Alright. Avatar Last Bender, okay. There are 5 wizards. Oh yeah, maybe there are. Yeah. And then there's a bad guy. Sauron the wizard? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Doctor Strange. Okay, Doctor Strange. I haven't seen that movie yet. I'll take your word for it then. Yeah, more like a monk with elemental power. Yeah, that's a good shout, I guess. That's a good shout. So, Master Theologian. At 14th level, you have mastered your chosen field of theology. Your knowledge rivals that of the head clerics of your god, and in some cases is even deeper. You gain a 6th level cleric feature of your heavenly domain, as well as a bonus spell listed for it below. This spell is always prepared, and does not count against the maximum number of cleric spells you may know. So you get these different lines. Okay, I mean, this is pretty cool. My only thing of this is like, I might just want to play a cleric, you know, to get all these features. It's like for if multi-classing didn't exist almost. It's kind of like multi-classing wizard and cleric with a couple of bonuses and a couple of drawbacks. Overall, I think it's pretty cool. But it's just like, it's funny because the fluff of it is like wizards who really want to be clerics. It's like, I don't want to be a wizard, Dad. I'm gonna be a cleric, okay? I'm gonna heal people, alright? And it's like the wizard's dad never approved of that kind of behavior. Like, of clerics, never liked him. So that's perfect for that kind of class, I think. White, grey, brown, 2 blues. Okay. Anyone throwing a goblin race in? No, we haven't had a goblin race yet. I'm sure there's probably one in my big spellbook tome that I am due to look back on. School of Theology is kind of interesting. Pretty cool stuff. Let's go and scroll back down to find some other stuff that we haven't looked at within my own little thing here. Like I've got. Where's the one that we don't need? That one. There probably is a goblin one in this, actually. Now that I think about it, there probably is a goblin one in this. I made a custom class, 95% finished. If you want to view it, yeah, absolutely. Send me links and I'll have a look at them. Sauron's basically a fallen angel. Sauron's basically dead, am I right? What the hell is this? Am I looking at? Introduction, the world of Telehar, a place of war and politics, encompassing lands of magic. Okay, this sounds like it's a homebrew world or something that he's made. A homebrew world. Yeah, I can't even get that any further across. Okay, this one does. There's so many windows because there's so many different weird things to capture. So let's get introduction. Oh my god, how many windows are there? Okay. I'm just gonna recapture it. You know what? I'm just gonna recapture it. It's giving me a pain in my bum whenever I have to look at a different weirdly sized document that all of these homebrew things come in. They don't like have one standard fucking format of yeah, so we go. Of what they look like. Okay, so we've got this Telehar. Let's have a look at this. I don't know if it's gonna be any good or if it's gonna be a homebrew world stuff, in which case I'm not gonna bother looking at it. Because character classes. Got okay. Get human variants. Oh, so it's basically different variants for already existing classes. So the Imperial Human gets choose 4 ability scores to increase by 1. Gain proficiency in 1 skill of your choosing. Imperial Will, before you roll a saving throw, you can use a reaction to gain advantage on it. After using this ability, you can't use it again until a long rest. You kidding me? Imperial Human OP. Creation's Edge at some point where you come up with cool, unique undead similar to Left 4 Dead type stuff. I could do. I don't know when exactly I'll do that, but I could definitely do that at some point. Yeah. What's up, Gareth? Happy New Year, buddy. You're going to Hogwarts, but Dad, you're going to Hogwarts, alright? Damn you, brat. Hope you get sorted into Slytherin, mommy. Okay, so we've got the Goblin to look at, and then we've got Mr. Multi-Jers thing to look at as well. Oh, it says URL signature expired. I don't think that link was good. The Facebook link that I just got, I don't think that was good. I think Facebook links in general are kind of difficult to get a hold of and send to people. I don't know. I've had problems with that in the past. This is the Goblins. Oh my goodness, this is a huge amount of writing in here. Let me just see if there is a Goblin one in here. Because I feel like there might be. And it might be a bit prettier to look at. This is all this like Telefar shit. Mantids. What the hell? Mantid sound okay, right, well, let's hold the phone. Let's do Mantids first. These guys look cool. We'll get into other stuff here in a minute. Mantids, we do not make our homes in dark places. Pure Mantids are derived from the blood of the Archfey, Camellia, and Akarok. In spite of looking somewhat human, they are entirely fey. As time passed, however, the Mantids are bred with other races in order to sustain their race, causing a corruption of the original bloodline for the majority of Mantids. And thank you to Pastar Gaming for following. Welcome to the event, my friend, gentleman, and a scholar. Thank you for joining us. Getting closer to our follower goal. Almost hit it already. Oh boy. And you guys are going to enjoy the next show that's coming up as well, the Dungeon Master's Workshop. If you like stuff like this, well, let me tell you. You don't want anything to be, just make everything. I tell you what would be easier, in fact, if you whisper me links. Whisper me links, actually. What was it supposed to be from? I don't know, Big. I guess some like hentai that I haven't seen. I mean, I know that's strange to think of. I think I've pretty much seen all of them. They have a chitinous exoskeleton which protects them from harm but prevents them from wearing more advanced armor. While they're quite delicate creatures, they possess wide shimmering eyes filled with color, a touch of camellia among the dull matte chitin or chitin gifted from Akarok. Faggot of the Dark Sour, 1998 for following. Welcome to the event, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Looks like I've moved it over completely off kilter there, and I've been an idiot, so. Nobody saw anything, it's fine. And I've done it again. There we go. So, I didn't know if Wiz made a new book or not. Oh no, these are homebrew stuff. Yeah, reviewing new homebrew classes. They're creatures in WoW. Oh, okay. Oh no, I haven't played enough WoW to know about that. Alright, so they're independent. They are like the allies. They have psionic essence, forsaken prodigy. We won't read all of this shit, but let's read what actual stats are and stuff like that. You should read in Rosie's voice from Mines of Fandelver. Do you know how much that would hurt? My voice is already hoarse. I've been streaming for quite a few days in a row now. Hey, Droll, it's going good, buddy. It's good to see you, my friend. Police score change. Wisdom score increases by 2. Charisma score increases by 1. And strength score increases by 2. It decreases by 2. Wow. Okay, so this is something that we haven't seen in 5e. aside from Volo's Guide to Monsters, and they had one monster race, I believe the kobolds get a minus to strength. I think that is the case. So yeah, that's where I've seen ability score decreases. Not often seen though. I don't mind it though. I kind of think it's fun. Don't care about alignment, size. They are 5 and 6 feet, so they are medium sized. Base walking speed is 25 feet. You can also gain a flight speed of 30, but you must land at the end of the flight, so you can't hover. Every time I see flight, I'm worried. Flight worries me more than stat decreases. Because stat decreases actually, it has a precedent now. Volo's Guide to Monsters set a precedent for decrease. Not a lot of them did. I believe only the kobold and maybe the goblin had a decrease. Someone could look that up for me. Unless I'm making that up and I dreamt that. But I believe that is the case. So you have Dark Vision. Sensei, with the blessing of Camellia upon you, possess innate extraordinary psionic powers. You know the message cantrip, except you send the message telepathically and it cannot be blocked. Just take out some monsters? No, JC Roller, we're doing some Kobolds get decreased strength for pack taxis. There you go, yeah. Today, JC, we are on Sage Advice Sunday, so it's our workshop show. We're looking at new races and classes to be played for D&D. And then in about 20 minutes time, we're doing the Dungeon Masters Workshop, where it's all about you guys asking questions, me and Rem answering them, and we're also going to be creating a module as well. And we've got some exciting news about that too. It's a PDF, which I googled, and I clicked the first link on. I currently have it downloaded, so I can't link it to you guys, but I'll put an article up on the website tonight. When you reach 3rd level, you can cast a Detect Thought spell once per day. At 5th level, you can also cast a Calm Emotion spell once per day. Your spell casting ability modifier for these spells is Wisdom. It's like everything else, but it's better. It's like you know the message cantrip, except you send the message telepathically and it can't be blocked. And when you reach 3rd level, you can cast a Detect Thought spell once per day. At 5th level, you can also cast Calm Emotions once per day. So it's good. If you read things out in his voice, you can hear the creator. You get to watch the YouTube videos. Oh, no worries, dude, no worries. It's my favorite show. Yeah, a lot of people really like the DM's Guild stuff, so I wanted to give you DM's Workshop stuff. So I wanted to give you guys a whole day of it rather than just 3 hours one day. Thank you to Alan for following. Welcome to the adventure, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. That's our follower golf of the day. Hell yeah, boys. We'll certainly have one at 30, but we just like to push the barriers, don't we? We just like to go crazy. So you cannot wear armor. You always have an armor class of 15 unless you are under the effect of a spell. I really don't like stuff like this. I really don't like AC limiting stuff. It seems to be done quite a lot. The more I see it, the more I dislike it, actually. I like AC to be able to be modified. There's like other things that you can. There's other ways to limit classes aside from having to do AC limitations. I think it's a little bit like. Speaking of Volo's Guide to Monsters, in fact, yes, our podcast, Adventurers Anonymous, are giving away a copy. All you have to do is go and listen to the most recent episodes of Adventurers Anonymous to enter into the giveaway for a chance to win. So, Scythe Blades, you possess 2 additional scythe-like hands. You get 2 additional. It's like, you know how normal people have 2 hands? Well, you've got 4, and they've got swords on them. Okay, you have advantage on checks made to climb, and when you fall off a ledge, you can spend your action to make an athletics check to cling on. There's like 20 abilities that this race gets. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep, so you're, you know, like an elf, Fey ancestry, that makes sense. Mantids don't... Mantids don't need to sleep. Instead, they can perform light activities for 4 hours a day. After this light activity, you gain the same benefit a human does from 8 hours of sleep. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm with you there, Richard. Stat touching is just annoying. General Grievous on duty, yeah. And top your 2 normal side hands, you have extra ones. It's just like, everything that you like is like way better. It's just better. And that's, you know, that's the problem. So like, they don't need to sleep, apparently, and you have 4 arms, and they have swords, and you can fly, and you have advantage on saving throws, and you can walk really fast, and you have dark vision, and you have sensate, you get extra magic cantrips, and there's more! But wait! There's more! You can read, speak, and write common. The divide between a male and a female Mantid is great, with the males being larger and tougher and the females having enhanced psionic powers as well as heightened intelligence. Choose one of the following depending on your gender. So you don't take a sub-race, you take a gender instead. I do sound like Frykreen from Dark Sun. Yeah, they really do actually. Delete their mate after 6, yeah. Hey, here's some free heavy armor that doesn't impact agility or counter heavy armor. Maybe for like Kitness, exoskeleton should be something like -2 cons something. I guess they do have the stat decrease. So like the way that this guy has justified in his mind all of the like the ridiculously overpowered stuff is like, but they've got a -2 to strength, bro. I mean, look at it. -2 to strength score is balanced. So sub-race, Semantids. Oh no, you do all, no, but wait, there's more. Not only do you get gender benefits, you also get sub-race benefits. The Mantids are also divided by bloodlines. While most of the blood eddied with elf or human, there also yet remain the pure Mantids, the chosen and the Arakox favored. You can choose a sub-race after the genders below if your DM allows you to, and the chosen gain all the benefits of the pure Mantids in addition to their traits. So as a sub-race female Mantid, did you just assume my gender? Did you just do that? It's 2017. 2017 and assuming genders in Homebrew classes. Oh my god. I'm triggered. At high arse, always got a crappy wizard cantrip and immune to sleep. Back in my day. Yeah, gender, so on a real note, gender differentiation is always a risky thing to do in games. I mean, there's a reason. There really is a reason why all successful games, like mainstream current tabletop RPGs that you see, don't have any difference between male and female. And there's gender, like, it can be, it's just like there's kind of like no fucking point in a way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, well, why? But I get it because Mantids people usually eat the men and stuff like that. That kind of makes sense. But it's just when you're in a game, it's like, it could be like, you know, people could get upset about this kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not saying that I am or that you guys should be. But when you are making your homebrew class, my suggestion would be don't do any gender differentiation. Just keep it all the same. Tend to have a better time there. Of course, we're in a medieval world. We're in a fancy world. There's all kinds of different feelings and attitudes towards women and men and stuff like that. We don't need to go in clan debate now, but that's just a bit of a word to the wise. This is the internet, and beware people on the internet. So as a female Mantid, you're far more naturally tenacious than your male counterparts. I love by the way as well, that the way that you get around being called a sexist when you're doing this is that you give the females more intelligence. So it's just like, but bro, I mean, no, it's nothing wrong. So of course I'm kidding. So your intelligence score increases by 1. You can speak, read, and write 1 extra language of your choice. You have a greater control over your psionic abilities. At 7th level, you gain the ability to cast a sending spell once per day. Don't trigger me, Will. Trigger me with genders. Male Mantid. Your constitution. You are naturally stronger and more robust than your female counterparts, as well as quicker to pick up combat skills. Your constitution, dexterity, or strength score increases by 1. You possess wings capable of flight. What? Your flight speed becomes 50 feet. You must land at the end of your flight movement using this trait. You gain advantage on athletics jumps made. Something. +2 bro strength. Your makeup, gender A, gender A is that, and gender B, easy fix, right? Yeah, I guess. Gender differences are fine. The only people who are offended aren't really worth listening to in the first place. I don't think that's true. I think that's a generalization. I think that probably offend a lot of people. So, sub-races. The Chosen. You are an antiquity among the pure... So this is the one where I think you said that you get everything for. Let's see. The Chosen gain all the benefits of pure Mantids in addition to their traits. So you get pure-blooded ones as well. Okay. I have never seen more abilities given. Quicker to gain combat skills, ridiculous. I mean, it's just fucking stupid. I mean, there's no point to it, is there? They get -2 on strength, it's true, yeah. I mean, like, if we talk all day about gender differences, there's just no point to them. So you're an antiquity among the pure-blooded. You have a third vertical eye on your forehead. Actually, you know how you had 4 arms, all with swords on them? Now you've got 3 eyes. And you know how you could fly? Well, now you can fly even better. Because you're a man. Because you're a male Mantid. So, from level 5, you can choose to act as though the Zone of Truth spell is affecting every square adjacent to you. The DC for this spell equals 8 plus your spellcasting modifier or constitution modifier plus your definitely OP as a race. Grants way more than DMG recommends, yeah. Oh, true, crazy. So, you can cast each spell granted by Sensate and Camellia's favor 1 additional time per day. Alternatively, each day you prepare your spells, you can choose to forego your second cast of one of these spells to cast an alternative spell as shown. At level 3, you can cast a Dissonant Whisper spell without the components once per day. At 5th level, you can cast Whole Person once per day. At 7th, you can cast Hypnotic Pattern once per day. You must choose between your Wisdom or Intelligence modifier for the spellcasting ability modifier with which you cast these spells. The most memorable PCs are the ones where players just play their personalities. Yeah, I agree, yeah. But wait! There's more! But wait! There is more! So, you could be Akarok's favored. I wonder if Akarok fucking wrote this thing himself. So your blood has been favored in the eyes of Akarok, and he has made you strong. You do not possess scythe-like appendages. Instead, you have functional hands, which can be used with great exertion. Look at me and my functional hands. In addition to the benefits granted by scythe blades, you have the following traits. Your gender-based ability score increase is doubled. You are twice the man than you were before. And you are twice the woman than you were before. There's more waiting, I know. They should add an extreme vulnerability to poison. And I thought lizard guys and those guys are monsters quite strong. They're not playable though, that's crazy. So, you can wield a total of 4 weapons, as long as 2 of them are light. And it's raining outside, and it's Wednesday night, and you're at the club. When you make an opportunity attack, you can spend a hit die to make up to 2 additional attacks against a creature. This is a level 1. This is a level 1, chap. These attacks must be made with 2 light weapons you are wielding. If you hit with both attacks, you regain the hit die you lost. Of course you do. Of course you fucking do. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I mean, this, of course you regain it. Happy New Year, maniac. Poor guys were like, I thought this was underpowered. Guys, please. Please. But wait, there's more! After you use this feature, you cannot use it again until you complete a short or long rest. You cannot use your action aspect scythe blades while wielding weapons and extra hands unless you drop those weapons. Then you get pure-blooded. Pure of your blood. You're gifted in telepathic abilities beyond the other members of your race. You can perform feats that many would not think naturally possible. Unassailable mind! From level 3 onwards, you cannot be charmed. Extraordinary will! From 6 onwards, you can recover the usage of your racial spells. During a short rest, you recover the usage of number of your racial spells equal to half your highest caster level. What does that even mean? We've had some. We've had like 2 out of 5 has been good. It's like the deep web of... Yeah, sure thing, Morgan. Sure thing. Flight. Have a little chat about that. So, basically, the Mantids sounded really fucking cool. They looked loud. I was like, Mantids, that sounds awesome. And then, you have. Let us just count. Extraordinary husband. Let's just count. So, aside from the usual stuff, you get Sensei, Chitinous Exoskeleton, Scythe Blades, Fey Ancestry, Restless, 6 languages, Division of Gender, you get a Sub-Race. Well, I guess the Sub-Race doesn't count, I won't count that, because you get an extra ability score, an extra language, Camellia's Favor, so that's 10, or 9 if you're a male. Sub-Races, you get as well, so that's 10 so far. So let's say you take the Chosen, you get Third Eye, Power Overwhelming as well, and if you are a Chosen, you also get the Pure Mantids stuff. So you get Unsaleable Mind and Extraordinary Will. So you have 14 racial abilities. I mean, you could have 12, 13, 14, something like that, depending on which like choices you take. But 14 racial abilities aside from your Mantid traits, not including ability score, age, alignment, size, speed, dark vision. We didn't even include dark vision. We were easy on them. We went easy on them. This is a weeb simulator for alt-right basements. Okay, so safe to say, the Mantids class created by this man is ridiculous. Not only is it ridiculously overpowered, it's certainly borderline when it comes to the gender differentiations, and probably doesn't need them. You could probably just rename them something else. Otherwise, they're just a bit like a little bit borderline, you know, like you learn you're stronger because you're a man, and you learn combat better than the women. I mean, it's, you know, make the race into a class. I mean, yeah. Mantids is most likely the most overpowered race that we have looked at today, and we've looked at some pretty good ones. So yeah, by the time that, you know, Wizards have released another 3 books, the Sixers release reported, that the power creep from Wizards 5e will be so high that this will be normal. But understand, if you haven't followed yet, buddy, get 100 gold when you follow. I'm just going to quickly read Wergaf's flying stuff, then I'm going to have a race through the Goblin, and then we've got our next show, the Dungeon Master's Workshop, happening. So Wergaf says his solution to flying. You have a 40-foot flying speed. At the start of your next turn, make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, you must land that turn and cannot fly again until you complete a short or long rest. If you can't land at the end of your movement, you will fall the rest of the way and take any fall damage that goes with it. On a success, you continue to fly until your next turn. That could work, making a con saves. Someone else suggested concentration as well and stuff like that. Been followed for months. Maybe you just lost your gold in a dungeon, but let me get some god flow. I thought this entire session was all about human shaming. Yeah, it's true. It's all about making us humans feel worse for not being mantids. Feel worse. So let's find the homebrewery. Where was it? Homebrew PC Goblins. We'll grab this one quickly, and then we've got our next show to dive into. We've got some exciting things to be doing over there. Let's recap this one again, because everything is fucking sized differently in this world. The four hands thing was just funny. Like, it got to a point where it's like, this is just funny now. Like, 14 abilities, you kidding me, dude? Alright. I'm not going to be able to fit all of this damn text on the screen. There's so much of it. Okay, now we're down to traits. Let's just try and zoom in on this stuff. So, let's put this over here so we can get a bit more on the screen. So, traits, I actually made a homebrew goblin myself. And also, are there stats from Involo's guide? I don't have time for a class, unfortunately. Next week we will do though. I took away flying from Butch, you gave me back. Yeah, pretty much. So, let's have a quick look. This one, Dex +2, Age of Goblins, and standard stuff, neutral evil, about 3 foot tall, base walk is 30, dark vision 60 feet, nimble step, opportunity attacks are made against you are made with disadvantage, yep. You have dexterity on stealth checks, advantage on dexterity on stealth checks, yep. You can speak Goblin, and talked about hobgoblins and stuff there. You get sub-races, of course. Adjustments, ability score is wisdom +1. Animal kinship, you can use your animal handling skill on wild animals as if they were domesticated animals, calming them, controlling them, or keeping them as pets. You may also use any animal large enough to carry you as a mount, even if it hasn't bred or trained for it. Cool. Primitive weapon training, you have proficiency with whips. I thought I said hips for a second. Proficiency with hips. Sturdy hips. Short bows and nets. In addition, when you make attacks with basic spears, deal 1 additional damage. Alright, that seems fair. And in Hill Goblins, Charisma +1, you have advantage on dexterity checks or saving throws to escape grapples, restraints, or attacks that impede your movement. That's cool. And Mob Tactics, your attack bonus increased by 1 against enemies engaged in melee with your allies. So much better than Pack Tactics. Pack Tactics is ridiculously OP if you gave it to players. When is usual time that the show starts? The schedules are there. It's 1 PM EST. Goblins of the Underdark don't actually have stats. So, I mean, yeah, Goblins, that's balanced. That's probably the most balanced one that we've actually seen today. So, good job. Thanks to Crazy Hippie for sending that one in and for giving us something to look at here as we wrap up the first show 2017, which is, of course, Homebrew and Review. Now, if you enjoyed Recommended Class Belly Dancer, if you enjoyed this show, stick around because we're going to be diving straight into our next one, which is the Dungeon Masters Workshop. We're going to be sticking here, and myself and Rem are going to be doing a little bit of Q&A to fire things off, and then we're going to go into some announcements and talk about yes, natural race mode. Did I miss something?